Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. I didn't ask you to interrupt me.
Is that correct?
Dati mihi Anglican, please. Oh, from C.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me turn this down a little bit. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am a Recovery Addict. I have no idea who won the internet today. I forgot to check. Okay, let's see. Who was it? Okay, just own up. If it was you, just admit to it right now. It was Jennifer Juniper. Okay. Bingo. There we go. Jennifer Juniper, congratulations. First in chat this morning, the internet, my friend, is all yours. When I say friend, I use friend loosely today because sentencing someone to internet ownership is not necessarily something you would typically do to a friend. In this case, it's different. You deserve it. So it's basically, I'm saying it's your own fault. You were first in chat. Clearly, sorry, while I work on my focus. Oh, that's not right. That's not working. Wait for it. There we go. Bing. Here I am. All right. Clearly, you're eager. You're up for it. And so because of that, we're just going to dump it on your shoulders. Please take care of the internet. Make sure it's all running for us, that there's no problems. That would be great. Appreciate you. Thanks. Jennifer, you're going to do great. I think you've done great in the past. So I'm just checking your record. I don't believe this is your first offense. Let's put it that way. All right. Welcome. It is fabulous, absolutely fabulous to be with you today. I had something on my brain. I can't quite remember what it is. But
Mike. What day is it, Mike? Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Hump day! Welcome to Wednesday. Woo! 2 thumbs up. I did it. I've either won him over to my mediocre performances or I'm really just doing better. What? Mom convinced me to just always give you 2 thumbs up. Hang on. Can you say that into the mic? Right here.
I don't want to be adopted, so I'm giving him 2 thumbs up. Say the first part. Mom convinced me to always give you 2 thumbs up. Because I don't want to be adopted.
Mrs. R.A. has tipped the scales in my favor. Mom convinced me to always give 2 thumbs up. I thought I was doing better. That one you actually did. All right. Well, thank you. Have a good day. Oh my goodness. Love kids. Aren't they the best? So, welcome, one and all. We have a fantastic day lined up for you today. Hopefully. Now, I realize this case has been going a little bit slowly. I think it'll be going faster today. I just have that gut feel that it's going to be a little bit better today. Plus, we have a better start to the day. And I say that because we have something else to watch for the first little bit. So, yesterday during lunch, when we should have been having lunch, we instead, let's see if I can find this. We instead had a, is that it? Hang on, I need to think. Oh, oops. Yeah. Birthdays. Thank you, Josh. Thank you very much for the birthday reminder. I will do that here in just a second as soon as I get this pulled up. Let's remove clip. Import media. Just all of these. I'm not sure what they were. Boom. All of those. No. Got it. Drag. There it is. Boom. Okay. All right. We're gonna sing "Happy Birthdays" here in just a second, but we have a fun clip to watch this morning, which you don't want to miss, and it's actually a carryover from the goat clip we watched yesterday. So this is different case, same judge, very next case on the docket is where we're going. So he heard just for perspective, he heard the neighbors fighting over the goats and wanting to shoot each other for trespassing. And as soon as they left, these people sat down. So that's just that's to give you an idea what sort of day the judge had. All right. Welcome. Let's do this. It is somebody's birthday. As a matter of fact, it's Noni Mac and Shelty Mom and Nate the Great, all celebrating their birthday today. So what we're going to do is we're all going to sing. I'm not just saying that for you to hear. We all are going to sing to them. And we do that by just standing up, put your shoulders back, take a deep breath, project your voice to the back of the room. How's my collar look? Is that all right? Sometimes my collar's flipped up. Sorry. Project your voice to the back of the room. Blend your voice with the neighbors. Warm up with me, if you will. La 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 la. There it is. Jennifer doing double time, leading to la 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 la's, as well as taking care of the internet. Good job. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Max Shelty Mom and Nate the Great. Happy birthday to you. Noni Mac, Shelty Mom, and Nate the Great. I realize there are lots of really cool days during the year, right? New Year's Day is a fun one. Christmas Day is great, but there's nothing better than your birthday. And today is that day. I realize there are a million places you could be, a million people you could have been with. But you chose to be here with us. Let us celebrate with you. The privilege, the pleasure, the honor is ours. Hopefully we can turn some of that back to you and make your day a little more special. We'll begin by offering you free pancakes at Denny's, IHOP, Village Inn, Waffle House, McDonald's, Wendy's? No, not Wendy's. What was the other one? Bob Evans and Tammy Dunlap's house. There you go. And Andy's Grill. Whichever one's closest to you, just stop by, get yourself a free stack of flapjacks to start your day off right. Jennifer says, Nate the Great is my son. Jennifer, you won the internet on your son's birthday. I just tell him you'll celebrate later. You're busy right now. I have to take care of the internet. We sang to him. That should be enough, right? So happy birthday to Jennifer Juniper's son, Nate the Great. Schmoopy says, but is he really great? I'm going to take Jennifer's word on that one. Nate, sounds like you're actually great. Your mom is fantastic. So. Plus, she owns the internet. I mean, how many kids can go around on the birthday and is like, hey, what'd you do? Well, I don't know. It's sort of busy day. My mom owns the internet. So, she was doing that stuff. It's also Karen Reed's birthday. Happy birthday to you. It's Karen Reed's birthday as well. Happy birthday to Karen Reed. Emily says, Shelty Mom is my mama. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. You look good.
You look good. You look great. Drum solo is going to be the big finish on this one. So everyone, just like the singing, you have to participate in this as well. Wherever you are, grab your air drum stick, sit down to your air drum set, and here we go. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And the party sounds to top it all off. Thank you, Fire Girl. It is a wonderful day. I'm just happy because Mrs. R.A. is home. Honestly, I missed her so much. She was gone for 2 days. I just about fell apart. First of all, I didn't eat because, how can I cook with her not here to help me cook? I always ask her all the questions. So food is back on the menu. That is great. She is home, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. So, hey, my non-adopted son volunteered to bring me one. No. Oh, no, it's a three. I need 3. You can have another one. That's fair. All right. Water delivery first thing in the morning. RA is banned from using the stove. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. There's a wonderful thing called DoorDash. I know, but that takes forethought. You know what I did last night? I got on Valhalla Awaits channel, and I was just watching some of the other, just refresher, because I'm excited for this interview, right? I'm excited to be on the channel. It's an honor and a privilege to be invited on. They've invited many, many great people, and so stooping to the bottom of the barrel to add me to the list, I'm honored, right? It's a privilege. And it's going to be a Lego build stream. So I have to think up what Lego set I want to build. And my son, I think, is most excited because I think he knows that he gets the Legos when I'm done building them. So I have to think up a set to build. I'm not going to do like a Millennium Starship, Millennium Falcon, life-size model. It's not going to be one of those. It's going to be something a little smaller that's both in my budget and in my more importantly, it's more in my expertise range. So I've got some ideas. Some fun ones. I think that's something that nobody's ever done on the channel before, which would be good. And I looked for a courthouse. Oh, did I look for a courthouse? Lego just does not represent the legal system very well, aside from police. Police are overrepresented. You can get police stations in every era, from Bobby's all the way up to the latest in pre-crime. You can find sets for police and characters galore. Try finding a Lego judge. I challenge you. Find me a Lego judge. And yes, apparently I say Lego's wrong. I've said it that way my entire life. Lego has never written me a letter and said, "Hey, by the way, it's actually Lego." Lego. I don't know. It's one of the other ones other than Lego. But I can't change now. I'm too old and set in my ways. All right. How about a jail? All right. They do have jails. That sort of goes with the police station, though. But the Lego Polaroid camera this weekend, I saw that one. I didn't see you doing it, but I saw the Lego Polaroid camera. That was interesting. I am committed to stick to the official brand of Lego, as long as they let me say Lego. If they have a problem with that, then I'm going to use some off-brand, an imitator. So there is a Lego judge. Where? And is it like? I know there's like a town center, and there's like some old versions that are discontinued, but in the current lineup, I could not find anything. Google it. See Amber's suggestion. You need to build a pickle posse. Here's the problem, Amber. I have absolutely zero creative bones in my body. Zero. I can build from instructions if I have to, but I can't build without them. As the current bathroom remodel is testament. It's still not done. I can't build without instructions. All right. We will we'll deal with that later. I've got some ideas. I need to find a spot on this video, a very particular point. Let me turn my controller on. That would be a little better. Wake up, controller. You have to push the button to wake it up. There it is. Okay. It's not her. I have to finish the goats because it was right after the goats. And they went for so long. Okay, hang on. Almost there. Oh, there we go. Okay, hang on. I need to back up just a tiny bit and put this on the screen. Before we play this, please tell me, what does this lady's shirt say? She's our new I don't know, one of the people in court. Let's read this. Her shirt says, "Be cool, be kind. Is that what it says? Be cool, be kind? Is that what you're seeing? Okay. All right, so we're going to rewind just a tiny bit. And we're going to begin right here.
And you're all set. No, thank you all.
This is the end of the goat people. The goat people are just getting up and leaving. This poor judge.
Ms. Flanagan and Ms. Adams. Doesn't matter. Either one.
Doesn't matter which table you sit at. Just sit at the one where the other person is.
Stay standing for me, please. Raise your right hands. Swear the testimony in this case to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Sure.
Yes.
Here we go.
All right. Two of you reside in the same building. Is that right?
Yes, Lotus Court Apartments, Patterson Street, Olympia.
Okay. So, Ms. Flanagan, you indicate that Ms. Adams makes a habit of calling you names. She takes your walker and she pushes it away from you. She does something with her cigarette butts and
In the eye.
okay.
In the eye?
All right. Anything else?
Cigarette butts
Well,
in the eye?
I do have something here from a friend of mine. I've been there 4 months and I have acquired some friendships there. One is Ayden L. Pierce. She's a very good friend of mine. She actually wrote something, an affidavit, to have me read to you.
Shout out Eileen.
Go ahead.
She said, I was doing my laundry, I believe it was on February 18, 2025. I left one load in the dryer. I had company over. I went down to get my laundry out of the dryer, but someone took my laundry out of the dryer, put their laundry in there. Was still 22 minutes left on my dryer.
That is a
There
crime.
were 6 other dryers open to use, so there was no reason for anyone to mess with my belongings. I went out into the lobby to see if anyone was been doing the laundry room. Martha and Jimmy, her friend in the lobby who sit down and read books. I asked if they had seen who went there, and they said Julia Adams. She just came out of the laundry room. I went back up to my apartment, and the time was then 6:30 p.m. I started to fold my laundry and found there was white dog hair all over my laundry and snot all over my black hand towels. The dog hair was short, white dog hair, which was her when she walks. About a half an hour later, I went to take my dog, Bella Rose, a Cocker Spaniel, out of the potty, and went out front door, turned left to go back and get the dog poop bag. I got about halfway there back to where the bags were there, and Julia was there with the white Chihuahua. I turned around to go back, and there was an aggressive pit bull on the other end of the walkway. Bella and I were stuck in 2 dogs, aggressive. And Julia said to me, you have to be fucking smarter, excuse me, Your Honor. You have to be bleeping smarter than the bleeping dog. I don't know why Julia is talking to me in this manner, because I've never had any problems with her. The only thing is that I talked to Martha Marie Flanagan, and Julia doesn't apparently like that. But what is going on between Julia and Martha Marie has nothing to do with me. I wrote this because I won't deal with someone who's obviously escalating at the Lotus Court Apartments and bullying me, Ayden L. Pierce. February 18th.
All right.
Wow. Great start.
Ms. Adams?
Never happened. If it did, it would be on camera. There's cameras in the laundry room.
Okay. Tell me about
Screenshot her.
concerns that Ms. Flanagan's indicated. Do you mess with her?
No.
Not at all?
No. And I have paperwork here if you'd like to look at it.
What's the paperwork say?
That I don't mess with her and she messes with everyone else. These are written statements from these people and the people. There's tenants, the other ones that they're willing to come in and testify, and there's also going to be, there's 4 people filing a restraining order against her tomorrow. So would you like to see these?
4 people
No, not if they're present, I don't.
No, these people aren't present.
Okay, well, yeah, no, hold on to those. So why don't you bring one person up at a time?
She's like, hey, pick me, Judge.
Just
Pick
come on up, have a seat next to
This
Ms.
is Sissy.
Adams.
My name is Cheryl Litzinger.
Yeah, Ms. Lipsinger, come on up and just have a seat right here.
Sorry, we call her Sissy, so.
That's okay. And Ms. Lipsinger, raise your right hand for me, please. You swear the testimony in this case will be the truth, all truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
go ahead and have a
sir.
seat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Okay, and what do you know about the relationship between Ms. Adams and Ms. Flanagan?
So, I know that Miss Martha doesn't like Miss Julia from the very beginning. And I know that recently there was a restraining order served on Julia.
No contact.
Oh, no contact, whatever. And so now everyone that is with her or around her has become a target of Martha. And I actually have never had problems with her. She pretty much ever leaves me alone, stays away from me. But since me and Julia have been friends, now she picks on me because me and Julia are friends and she doesn't like Julia. So she waits for Julia in the laundry room and Julia goes out to smoke. So when me and Julia were going out together to smoke, in a way to go smoke, we have to go out down a hallway past the laundry room. So when we walk past the laundry room, Miss Martha comes out behind us and she walks so good. You walk really good.
Just talk to me.
She walks really good without her walker. Mm-hmm. But at the apartments, she walks with a walker like this.
She's faking it.
And she comes out of the laundry room with her walker really fast. You're in violation. You're in violation. I'm calling 911. And she starts trying to ram me and Miss Julia with her walker. And then she came behind us and tried to get out the door before us and then calling 911. And she said, that's on camera, that's on camera. And she does that to everybody.
Bless you.
Okay, thank you very much. You can go ahead and have a seat back there.
Okay.
And did you have somebody else who wanted to?
You want to bring
Miss Tony?
She's witnessed her behavior, Shirley.
Okay, if either one of you want to come.
I think I will.
Okay.
I think I will.
And raise your right hand. You swear the testimony in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
And your name is?
Tony Barlow. Tony, Toni, Barlow, Barlow.
Oh, Barlow. Okay, thank you. Go ahead and have a seat, Mr. Barlow.
Thank you. So I'm Cheryl Litzinger's caretaker. And so I guess my reason to be here is on behalf of both of them, but mostly Miss Litzinger, because her stress level and her ability to leave her apartment and just kind of be natural, be on, a regular day with her has subsided. It's down to a minimal now. So, because before, she was being, very social and being able to be out, but this has really caused undue stress on a lot of people. And I can't talk for them, obviously, but I can talk for Miss Litzinger. And there has been a change in her temperament and how she wants to leave her apartment now. She's afraid that she's going to end up getting something against her just by meeting her in the hallway. Okay. It's just been that kind of thing.
So have you seen any of this?
I have seen her behavior. Yes, sir.
Describe it. What you have seen.
I've seen her tried to hit somebody with an
By
umbrella.
her, you mean?
Oh, I'm
Mrs.
sorry, Miss
Flanagan?
Martha. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
She's been verbally offensive to people, and I came up right after she had spat in someone's face.
That is a crime.
And actually, the police were there at the time.
That never happened.
Okay, yeah, hold on. I'll get
That
back
never
to you.
happened.
Ms. Flanagan, I'll get back to you.
All right, that never happened.
I'll let
Okay.
Ms. Barlow go ahead.
So,
That is a lie.
Go ahead.
okay. So, I mean, there's been many, many incidents. I mean, she called 911 on this fella. He actually is dead now. He had lung cancer, and it was this issue with the elevator and her not letting him out of the elevator, and he did like push her with his walker. So anyway, there was a big deal. She's, in my opinion, she's been a troublemaker from the word go, and she has all these protective orders on so many different people, and it's
That is
just
not
a
true.
nightmare.
I don't have any.
Okay, Ms. Flanagan, don't interrupt, please. Go ahead, Ms. Barlow.
That's it. That's all I see. And I'm my main concern is Miss Litzinger, and her ability just to leave her apartment without feeling like she's going to be either assaulted or have a protection order placed against her.
Okay, thank you very much. And ma'am in the back, did you wish to say something?
This is Shirley.
Okay, thank you. Shirley, if you'd raise your right hand for me. Swear that testimony in this case be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay, and your last name is?
Peniagua.
Peniagua. Okay, Ms. Peniagua, go ahead.
Okay, I've been pretty much neutral with, I try not to get involved with anybody's stuff, but I have seen Martha
there went the neutrality.
come unglued on a lot of people. And they try to, we're all kind of out smoking. She comes out and refuses to leave in the area we're at. So the whole group has to get up and walk to the front of the building. So we have time to visit. And we watched her try to poke somebody, this Ellen that she's got a state from. She tried to poke her.
Have you ever seen
management tried to get in or had to get involved?
Have you ever seen a situation in which Ms. Adams has initiated something negative with Ms. Flanagan?
I never witnessed it. I was at church one day and I heard about it when I came back, so I wasn't involved.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Peniagua.
Your Honor, just
Okay, Ms. Litzinger, hold on just a second. Okay, thank you.
This is bad.
say one more thing.
Sure.
Oh, Your Honor, Miss Martha told everybody that Miss Julia is an alcoholic, and that's not true. Me and Miss Julia have been friends for a really long time. She's not an alcoholic.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Adams, do you have anything more you would like to say?
Yes, I came up early and I was writing a statement out for a friend of mine who has litigation against her. They're in court the same time we are. So that's another witness of mine that's not able to be here. But that's who's gotten the brunt of her abuse, along with myself and many other tenants.
Wouldn't this woman have to be in that court too?
She's escalating. I thought it would get better. I thought Lotus Management would handle it. Nobody seems to be. So I'm after me being protected from her, all the other tenants, and most importantly, Barbara, who again is in another courtroom going against her because she was verbally assaulted and physically assaulted from her. They did mention the other gal, she's spit in her eye, so I'm gonna take her to the police officers to have her, she'll file assault charges. She needs to go to her doctor to be tested for anything that may have been transmitted. She's doing a restraining order. I'm doing a restraining order, and I believe 3 other people. And then many people, if you'd like their number, name, anything from them, if you have any questions, even the staff
2 years
at Lotus.
Thank you.
But I have these written ones that I wasn't able to submit to you before this hearing.
So you all live in one building?
Correct.
And are you down the hall from each other?
No, I'm on the 5th floor and she's on the 2nd floor, and she also came up last night to my floor, which she's not supposed to. And then when I go out to have a cigarette, she runs up to me and says, "You can't be out here. You have to go away now." She doesn't understand the no contact order, which is fine. You know, she's capable of it. So
Tell them about that.
You want a man speak?
Oh, okay, I'll get back to you.
She's getting prompts. Tell them about the.
a lot of people couldn't make it here today for other obligations they had, but wrote to you.
And how long have you all lived in the same building?
I went in on September 27th. Anybody else's date, I do not know.
And was Miss
We've
Flanagan already residing there?
Pardon me?
Was Miss Flanagan already residing there?
I couldn't tell you that. I have no idea.
When did you come to know Miss Flanagan?
I can't remember that either because it's just been a nightmare since. So I'm, our staff could tell you that. Who were in charge of moving everyone in. I don't even know when these people moved in. I know they're my friends now, but can't even remember their
that's okay.
Floor number.
All right, Miss Flanagan, go ahead.
Yeah, here's another one from Kathy. Last night when I was on her, I didn't even know where she lived until a week ago when Shirley served because she saved me $75. So this is from Kathy.
Shirley served.
The girl that talked about her using profane and foul language. None of what she said is true at all. We have 9 incident reports, 5 grievances, and the management is aware of her. She's the one that assaulted me the other day with the Colombian lady, and we do have it on video. The video was when Josh Dannenberg, the property manager, actually saw her do it. Demon, she's been on the elevator. Dave just got out of the hospital. He could come, but this is a letter handwritten from Kathy, my friend since I met 4 months ago. I did not arrive till October 29th, so I didn't even know she was living there. Anyway, apartment 311, I, Kathy Briol, have known Martha Marie for 6 months. She is a nice person who doesn't hurt anybody. Witnessed by Nathan, my son, on February 11, 2025, 2025 at 9 p.m. Lotus Court, incident report, February 21, 2025. Your name, Martha Flanagan, Lotus Court. Person involved, Julia Adams. Apartment, we just found out, I didn't know she lived on the 5th floor till a week ago. A lady named, I came back from church as I'm becoming a master and a minister, and I was gone for 3 hours. And so what she said is the absolute fabrication of the entire statement. Julia Adams was simply with my walker. She's the one that blocks it. In other words, she's screaming and screaming and screaming and putting her fist and slamming down her fist. And she's, as far as the other lady in apartment 501, Kim, was the one 3 months ago that said that she wrote the management, not me, about her alcoholism. I didn't know anything about her. I only know from Shirley that her boyfriend beat the living crap out of her a year ago. Her violence is excessive. She's accelerating her behavior. She came to my floor on the 2nd floor until she was told by management, you cannot go within her. And then Shirley was nice enough to save me $45 and call me in police. We did call 911 yesterday, and they're awaiting a decision, Your Honor. So what she said is absolutely fabrication, completely.
All right, thank you.
This judge.
I do have a video of it all as well.
It's all on video. Yeah, rules of evidence. It's just the judge. He's just going to throw out things mentally that, that shouldn't apply. It's oh. I just want to get old at home. Is that okay? I don't want to. I can see me being the grumpy person in a retirement home. Get off my lawn. That would be me. Stay away from my few trees.
Sir, can I be excused?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Take care. Thank you, dear. Have a good day. Be well.
Be well. Namaste. Get out of my basement. The judge is just hoping they get up and walk away while he's not talking. He's like, I just hope this goes away and I don't have to deal with it. Don't touch my buttons. Mrs. R.A., come get your husband. He's kicking people off the front lawn again. He's yelling at the city workers who are cleaning the gutter. Oh, by that time, I will be the camera guy. I will have all the cameras. There is a sad element to this case, obviously. I don't think anyone should put up with harassment, and in their old age, even less so. You know, that's when I'm old. I want to be able to live restfully and at peace, and enjoy my golden years. And if every day I walk out my door and somebody is trying to ram me with a walker or poke me with an umbrella, that's not good. That's no good.
And Ms. Flanagan, has the order that I entered previously, has that changed anything?
No, Your Honor, just accelerated, got worse.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I agree. Management has a big part to play in this one, I think.
Which is kind of what I had assumed listening to everybody here.
Pardon?
So, which is kind of what I had assumed listening to everybody here.
Sounds like it got worse.
I'm lost as to what you're assuming.
I'll tell you in a moment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
I almost spit out my water.
Are you willing to?
How many people live in this facility? Any idea?
60.
I believe there's
60.
64 rooms.
Okay, thank you.
And Stan passed away. He had lung cancer for 5 years.
That's the man she
Yeah.
tried to.
And that's that's the scooter that he put
That's
through,
enough.
So
That's enough.
she also
That's
doesn't know
enough.
the whole story. Whenever he gets it.
That's enough. That's enough.
Thank
Talk
you.
to me. Flanagan.
Thank you. Got a case. The police have a case. That's it.
Sure.
Okay, so you have 60 of you that live in this building, give or take.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I have some people saying that Ms. Adams is the problem. I have some people saying that Ms. Flanagan's the problem. I'm hearing that some people are going to seek orders against Ms. Flanagan. I don't know if there are other people seeking orders against Ms. Adams.
No.
But
Yes.
oh, hold on.
No.
Okay.
No. Yes. No. Yes.
Let the judge speak, Julia.
I'm glad I don't live here. That's all I'm going to say right now. You guys would be mean to me. Protection orders aren't going to change anything down there. That's really why I asked Ms. Flanagan the question. The fact that there is a temporary protection order hasn't changed a thing. I don't think the police have any desire to come into the building and lock up all 60 of you because you can't be nice to each other.
But they said they come-
I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, they
If
said
I
they-
issue the order, that's
Okay.
really what you're asking me to do.
That's correct. They said they would if you do the order. That's what they
Okay.
said.
Well, they're not going to lock up all 60 of
No,
you.
we're
because
just
you're-
talking about
Okay,
Julia.
Miss Flanagan.
Okay.
You're all, no.
I know, but she
I
lied
can
through her
control
teeth.
it.
She
Nobody
lied
needs
through
to
her
shoot.
teeth and they falsified their statement.
Okay. All right,
And
Miss
that's a
Flanagan.
fact.
Okay.
Come
But
arrest
you all
everybody.
are saying the same thing about the other
Mm-hmm.
one. So I'm pretty confident that this is just a paper exercise.
Can I get
if
an
I were
amen?
to issue it, I'm going to not issue it. Frankly, this is going to fall on the management. They're the ones who work there, live there. They're going to have to keep an eye out and make their own determination. I'm not in a position because you each are presenting other people saying, no, if it's her fault, it's her fault. And police don't want me to issue an order because they don't want to have to start coming arresting all the people in the building. And there's not enough room in the Olympia City Jail for all 60 of you, and the accommodations are not nearly as comfortable as the ones you have in your building. So I would just ask that you have some degree of respect for the others and just give each other a little grace and as much room as you can so that you aren't bumping into each other and you can find a little peace in your lives. All right. I have signed the denial order. Ms. Adams and Ms. Flanagan can remain where you are. We'll give you a copy of that order. And were I to hear other cases about this, unless there's something very different, the cases would all end up pretty much like this one is. So I'm just letting you know.
So don't file more suits.
All right, Your Honor. Thank you.
Don't
Thank you
file
for
more
speaking
lawsuits, please.
and teaching
Because
us.
I'm going to
Thank you very
dismiss.
much. I appreciate. I listen. I heard you. Are you interested in the paperwork?
No, I don't need it.
But I've got all these statements.
So, Ms. Flanagan, Ms. Adams, just wait and we'll give you each a copy of what I
Thanks, sir.
Stay out of my courtroom. Oh my goodness. What's going on up in Olympia? What's going on up in Olympia? I wish it had been on Judge Judy. He almost is. I mean, Kate, put that in perspective.
Oh, I'm sorry.
An hour ago, there were neighbors arguing about
Adams,
shooting
here
each
you
other's
go.
goats or dogs or something.
Well,
Right before this. And these people sat through the goat hearing. They heard that and then
And
came
Ms.
up.
Is it possible to talk to you after she leaves?
no. Never can do that. Yep.
Your Honor, she's trying to manipulate us. She
Okay.
doesn't.
All right.
She's miserable and she is.
Okay, that's enough. I told her she couldn't say anything to me, and I'll tell you the same.
She's trying to manipulate.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm not gonna tolerate her doing it. Lewis County, Your Honor, they would have granted it, and they do arrest you, and she does have to pay. It's serious. We don't have a clue. We're gonna come back here. We're worried she has a firearm, so I wanna talk to management. Thank you.
Yep.
I thank you.
She's still
One of the
going.
rear judges left. Thank you, John.
No. Let's let that linger for a moment.
That is funny. That was funny. Mary, we watched the goat hearing, the very end of part one, or of the first stream yesterday. So right after lunch, right before the break. Right before lunch, before the break. That's the goat hearing. I think the judge is right. They will be back in court. Hopefully it will not be more serious. The parting thing with Your Honor, can I talk to you after she's gone? The judge is like, no, you can't. She's trying to manipulate you. She's trying to manipulate the system. That was funny. But then as they're leaving, like, we're worried that we are going to be back here. Any other county, Lewis County would have granted this. They would have arrested her. That was some good stuff. It was some good stuff. There was a worry that one of them has a gun, but I'm not sure if that's founded. Kirsty Ann, welcome to the gallery. 14 months. Thank you very much. And if I didn't get to shout this out as much as I would like to, because this deserves it. Grit Grinder, 24 months. Got that magenta courthouse. Looks great. Magenta, pink, call it what you want. Jennifer Juniper gifted a membership to kick things off this morning. And Weezer, thank you very much for the super sticker. Thumbs up for you as well. We are getting ready. We're getting set. We've got a little bit of time before court begins in Iowa. They are an hour later than me. They should start in a little under half an hour. So I didn't realize that Grumpy Old Men had a woman's version of the movie, and it plays out in Washington. I love Grumpy Old Men because I love fishing, and so much of that is true. So it's good. All right. Cheryl Ann, thanks, RA, for the laughs today. That's how we're going to start things, because it might be a little bit slow as we get started, but I think we're getting near the end of... there cannot be 40 witnesses. Okay, there's no way there are 40 witnesses in this. I think there were 40 witnesses in the original trial. I think we're actually getting near the end of this one. I can't see it any other way. So, 24 months, loving every minute. That is awesome. PJ Wolf Weimers, member for 18 months. Congratulations, PJ. All right, but the judge here in the gun statement probably should have at least inquired. I don't know. This is not his first time he's had these individuals in his courtroom, because their prior no contact orders that he entered, which are doing absolutely this much good. But yeah, man, it's. I hope that management finds a way to make things better. All right, I will say this. I was making my police statement yesterday about the people the guy who opened my basement without my permission, opening my house, and while I'm talking to the police officer, my neighbor from across the street walks up, and he's quiet and he's slow, good neighbor. This is the good one. And he walks up, and it sort of surprises the policeman. He turns around, and my neighbor open carries a pistol everywhere he goes. He's always got a gun on his hip. And it's like the Wild West. And so the cop turns around, and I've just been telling him about this neighbor that I'm worried, that entered my house illegally and everything. He turns around, and there's a guy with the gun, and he had a little double take. I'm like, he's the good neighbor. He's the good one. So it was sort of funny. All right. Yes, and it's legal, by the way. It is legal to open carry firearms in my state. Locked and loaded. You can carry a gun around on your hip just about everywhere, except for a couple. There are some exceptions, but yes, it's not necessarily he probably thought he was doing something good, but he didn't have my permission. So anyway, and I'm still ticked to the water guys for telling the guy what they wanted to see, and then watching him as he did it. And standing by as he opened my house, and like, you don't do that. Anyway, long story. You missed story time. Breaking and entering. Yes, with the police report, I've got the little number there. So never understand the pew-pew thing. It's a different culture. It's different, but it's quite. I wouldn't say it's. I'll say this: on your average day, just going shopping, it would be rare to not see someone with an open carried firearm. And I realize that I think some stores have officially said don't open carry in our store, but like Walmart doesn't enforce that here. So people just walk in with a gun on their hip. I've never seen a problem anywhere. It's just people open carry. Why was he in your basement? I'd like to know the same thing. But I used to carry a concealed weapon. Now's a great time to talk about it because we're waiting for court. Fun story time. I used to carry a concealed weapon everywhere I went. And if there were places that I couldn't legally carry a concealed weapon, I wouldn't go there. But the story behind that is a little bit different. I didn't get a concealed weapons permit until I was nearly run off the road by a guy who was upset that okay, back up. I worked in a warehouse. It was a metal shop, lots of machinery, lots of very, very heavy items, cranes, 40,000 pounds of steel floating over people's heads and stuff like that. Dangerous environment. We never had a fatality. Other locations of our same company did have fatalities every year. It was dangerous, and I took issue with the fact that some people were snorting stuff on the brakes and then using this equipment around me because it was extremely dangerous and people were getting hurt. And so I did something about it. I told management, I said, I can't work, around all these people using drugs. And of course, that's an allegation that management has to act on. But they waited a number of weeks and first they sent a memo out to all the line foremen and everything to say, hey, we're going to do a certain kind of drug screen on this date. It was like a month or something later. And we're going to randomly screen people, and they picked people to screen, and everyone who was picked knew that they were being picked, and everybody passed the drug test. So management then came back to me and ripped me a new one for alleging that drugs were being used in there, and said, I could be sued and everything else. I'm like, bring it, because you didn't test any of the people I told you, or the people with the powdered sugar around the nose right after lunch break, and they haven't had any donuts. So anyway, I made that allegation, and I took it a little higher, and there was another drug test that was unannounced for our local management in our shop, and it caught a bunch of people. Everyone I named got caught. And one of them was very upset because they lost their jobs. And one of them he threatened me, said he knew where I lived, followed me home, and tried to run me off the road like he was trying to ram my car with his car. Let's say this. I don't agree with drug use, but what people do on their own time is separate from what they do when I'm underneath the equipment they're operating, and they're dropping things and making mistakes that the drugs, are making it unsafe for people. That's where I draw the line, my safety. And anyway, so when that happened, I contacted some police, and they wrote a letter. And normally it takes like a long time to get your concealed carry. I had done the class a long time ago. They wrote a letter. I sent the letter with my application in, and like 3 days later, I had my permit back. It was like done immediately. So I normally carried a concealed weapon like almost everywhere I go. And I have not divested myself of those assets, but I just don't go places now. So I just stay here. I don't know why I was telling this story. I forget. But anyway, let's see. We were talking about concealed carry. I've only I only had to. How do I say this? I only had to. I don't want to say I only had to threaten. I only had to hint that I would draw the weapon from its concealment one time. And that's when somebody that I put in federal prison for a bomb approached me with a knife. And that's the only time. So, never had to. Yeah, brandish sounds more like a crime. I was carrying in what's typically used as like under a suit coat. There's like a shoulder. It's like a harness you wear, straps that are hidden by your suit coat. But I had it under a regular coat, and it was in a cross draw across my body, and it was right there. So a bomb. Yeah, I found a bomb. That's a fun story. We'll tell that sometime when we've got a little more time. But I've led a very interesting life. I tried to go fishing, and I ended up finding a bomb. And then the people who made the bomb came after I called the police. The people who made the bomb came and told me they made a bomb, and that they were going to make another. And I couldn't just stand by on that one. So yeah. All right. Our lives couldn't be more different. It's all right. It's all right. Everyone's different. It was an awkward conversation. I was fishing and found a bomb was not on my bingo card today. Yeah. Not fertilizer. 6 pipe bombs with a 20-pound propane canister. So that's all with individual detonators and a crude but a waterproof switch, electronic ignition. It was a pretty nice bomb as far as bombs go. I always join the stream at awkward times. We're just talking. Hey, Mrs. R.A., how are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. I'm debating telling the bomb story this morning.
Okay, I don't know why I need to be on the mic, but can you get me the Strengths Finder book? Just eye level on the far right, your other right. It's white with red. Up. That's not eye level. That's above eye level. Okay. High eye level. Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. She ordered a book from my library, her library, but the other right. She called me out on that one. Maybe I'll tell the bomb story on the Lego build. That might be fun. We'll save it for that one. All right. Yeah, I prefer boring as well. Husband's a pew-pew collector. Do you have a favorite? Yes. H&K 40 USP compact. I love everything about that except for actually shooting it. I like the build, the size, the caliber, the weight. It's just reliable. It's awesome. It's more pleasurable to shoot than the P95, the Ruger. But yeah. All right. It's the kick is just sharp. It's just too sharp of a kick for me. I'd like something a little smoother, and I could get a smoother recoil with a heavier firearm, but then it would be more awkward and not as easy. I wouldn't say fun to carry. I wouldn't say guns are fun, but that's it. All right. Story night for everyone to call in and tell their story would be fun. Fridays or Saturday nights. Hey, with March 8th, let's put this on the menu. We've got just over a week. Okay. So, I think it's a Saturday night. We're going to be on Valhalla Awaits. We're going to do a Lego build interview where I'm a guest. We're going to build Legos and just talk stories. Miss Violet says, people collect pew-pews? It's, yes, they do. I have never been like a collector of them. I've always had them either as a tool for either hunting, which I've never been good at, or even moderately successful at, or for protection, which I've had to use them for protection. Just when I grew up right next to the mountains, and so anytime I was not in the house, I was in the mountains, and there's mountain lions. Rarely ever saw bears around there, but a moose can do more damage than a mountain lion in less time. They're crazy. We saw some of them. How boring can the story be? It's good. Brandy, hello. Good morning. How are you doing? Good to have you here. We're telling fun stories as we wait for this court to begin. It's a strange little trial, by the way. This trial is a civil trial. So normally you'd think like lawsuit. Civil trials where one person sues another person, and usually there's a monetary reward. But in this case, in Iowa, we've got Todd Mullis. He's convicted of murdering his wife with a corn rake. That's one of those 4-tine pitchforks with a 90-degree bend that apparently 3 stabs in the back almost all the way through her body was enough to do it. He says it might have been an accident. And it was a mistake for my lawyers not to say it might have been an accident. Instead, they said, yeah, it's clearly a murder, but it wasn't him that did it. Well, when his original trial, he got convicted. The jury found him guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison. He appealed that sentence and said, this is wrong. It could have been an accident. This is, my lawyers messed up, all this stuff. And the appeal was denied. And you think that would be end of story, but in Iowa, you have this option where you can file this post-conviction, I don't know, is it recourse? I forget what the name is, but there's post-conviction. You can seek for, help and basically say, I'm suing the state for finding me guilty civilly. And the outcome here is that that either his sentence could be reduced, he could get a new trial, he could be released, or his sentence will just remain as it is and he'll serve the rest of his life in prison. So the fourth one is the most likely because every other avenue before this with appeals has already run its course and was denied. So that is most likely what's going to happen. So in this case, the person in orange and handcuffs that comes in is the plaintiff. And the defendant is the state prosecutors who tried him in court. The jury is the judge. And the burden of proof rests with the plaintiff. So the state has no burden of proof. It's a funny little case for that reason. The case itself is serious, and I know there's some feelings on both sides. People saying this could have been an accident. It's hard for me to see that right now, because the problem is there are more holes in her back than there are tines on the fork, which means she had to have fallen on this fork multiple times on her back, and then gotten it out and fallen again. And people have been texting me some scenarios of how this could have happened. I'm looking at that, but. Barb, I don't think that happened in court. I haven't heard that. It's post-conviction relief. That's right. The R is for relief. Post-conviction relief. PCR, right? Vulture that flew into the car with him. Oh my goodness. That's almost like hitting a deer. Those things are huge. Anyway, I'm super excited, Brandy. I got invited on to be on Valhalla Waits to do a Lego build. And I know you got to, on Mother's Day, you got to do your stream with them and you got to be the moderator. I was not given that option. I'm told I have to bring Legos. So I'm trying to figure which Lego set to bring that's in both my price range and my ability range, which luckily both makes them smaller. So no 1,000 piece builds here. I'm excited for it. I'm really excited. It's a unique format that's so laid back and fun, and I don't know. It just seems the Legos. Obviously, being a toy for kids and adults, for kids of all ages, I guess I should say, seems to just take the nervousness out of it. You're just playing with friends, right? I would sit down with my friends and play with Legos when I was a kid, and I'm excited to just go back to that mentally. Let's see, and I'm looking at. I think my kid would want to do a Lego live stream as well. Last-ditch effort to get a conviction overturned or retried. Sinbad, in this one, he could go for either, but he's going for a retrial. And what they're trying to do, and this shows up in, let me see if we can bring some court video to you right now, if we can get this configured right. There we go. He's there. What he's trying to do is trying to show that if his defense had called the right experts, they would have testified the evidence was different than what was heard in court. And then the jury would have an alternative scenario to consider and then wouldn't have gone with conviction. He has to prove that this mistake that his previous attorneys made was big enough that it would have changed the outcome of the trial. And that's a huge burden, honestly. It's got to be quite substantial because you're basically you're trying to convince the judge that your version of events is reasonable. And it's a tough one. It's a tough one, especially because, the judge knows that it's gone all the way through the system and it's gone through a full trial. And, let's just see how it plays out. But Melanie says, for the Lego fund, get a nice one. Get a nice one. I've already decided I'm going to stick with actual Lego because I'm more convinced that the instructions are going to be accurate and all the pieces will be there. Some of the off-brand stuff, I'm not as convinced of their quality control. So, not sure I understand a Lego stream. Virginia, Legos are the you probably know, but I'll say this for those who might not. They're little colored plastic building blocks that that interlock with each other and can be, combined to make all sorts of different structures, characters, ships, and anything you could build with snap together blocks of a million different varieties is possible with Legos. So I do see there was somebody says get the Breaking Bad RV. I don't think it's actually Lego, is it? Is that Lego brand? No, it's an off brand. Let's see. Lego creator sets. I have 4 ideas of what I want to do as far as, because I can't. We're just happy you're here. Give Lucy some love. We are, Brandy. Welcome. I can't go super tiny, right? Because this could be a 2 or a 3 hour live stream, which is a long interview. I need to have something that's substantial enough that I can be, busy that whole time as well, building. So I'm thinking 500 piece is probably the minimum. But we'll see if I can find a good set for that. I also want it to be a surprise, so I can't tell you which set it's going to be. Yes, they're all going to be building a Lego set. Yes, so I'm not sure, would it be Making Law Simple, Valhalla Awaits, Wendy and me? I don't know. I don't know who else is going to be there. It could be a different mix, but the 4 of us on a stream together, I think at least 3 of us will be building Legos. Megan Fox made a Courtroom. See, I didn't watch Megan's. I need to watch that one. Minecraft crafting table Lego set. Build the Death Star battleship, life-size version. I was looking for a courthouse first. I can't find it. I can't find even the Back to the Future courthouse one. I can see the car. Lego construction excavator, functional. That would be awesome. Chris, they are really fun. I really like Lego's good quality. Is there a pickle Lego set? I don't think so. What channel will this be on? I don't know if they want me to live stream on my channel as well or just on their channel. Sometimes when we use StreamYard, which is the tool they use to do these interviews, you can say allow each person to live stream on their channel. And it might be like that. Maybe Brandy could tell me if they do it that way or if we're just going to be on Valhalla. It doesn't matter to me. It's usually just theirs. But if it's just theirs, I'll put a link up there. There's a pickle set. Is it actual Lego brand? The Lego builds are dual streamed. All right, so I can do this. This is something I could get behind. I love Legos so much. They were such a formative part of my life. Just put a link on the community tab. Yeah, I can do that as well. That's great for me. Look for member 2 years Lego set Justice Courtroom number 4. Okay. People are sending me their Lego build pictures, and they're amazing already. Hang on. Member 2 years.
Morning. Please be seated.
Oh, judge is coming in. Sorry. Crank the volume a little bit, maybe.
All right, good morning, everyone. Are we picking back up with Dr. Nye, or are we interrupting her testimony to accommodate another witness's schedule?
Yes, Your Honor, counsel, we have conferred. And we are going to call Sheriff Himisaf first this morning due to scheduling.
Okay, we're trying to get the audio fixed. Give me a second.
Okay.
We are planning to move Mr. Castle till tomorrow. And we may finish a little early today, but I don't want to promise the court. And then I just have one housekeeping matter. After conferring with the state, there are 2 additional exhibits, which are depositions that we have an agreement to admit.
The mics are off right now.
Okay. Are those marked as exhibits?
Yes.
All right, and the numbers?
301.
All right.
Ivy.
And 346.
Lego is so much fun.
And counsel, 301 and 346, is that accurate that those can come in without objection?
Good morning, and yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
All right, those will be admitted. Any housekeeping matters that the state wish to address this morning?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay. Sheriff Hemseth, it sounds like you are up. If you're ready, please come forward and have a seat in the chair to my left.
The microphones are off, so we're hoping somebody flips the switch here.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be true and correct?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and have a seat, and if you turn the microphone on in front of you there. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. If I talk too fast or my question
You're
doesn't
too
make
quiet.
sense, please ask me to repeat it and slow down. Sure. Could you please state your name for the record?
Travis Hemseth.
And Mr. Hemseth, how are you employed?
I'm the sheriff of Delaware County.
And how long have you been sheriff?
Since January 1st.
Of 2025?
Yes.
And what did you do before that?
I was employed with the Delaware County Sheriff's Office as a deputy.
And how long were you employed as a deputy?
I've been employed as a deputy for approximately 18 years.
And most of that has been here in Delaware County?
The majority, yes.
30 dB of boost on this. If they turn the mics on, I'm going to go deaf. That's just a
Have
warning.
you completed any specific trainings or certifications since you were elected sheriff and took office as sheriff?
No.
And can you tell me a little bit about the Delaware County Sheriff's Office evidence room?
We have a secured evidence room.
Can you tell me where it is or how big it is?
It's within our sheriff's office, and it's probably 30 feet by 40 feet square.
Is it what I envision as far as a room with shelves that contain boxes and evidence and files?
Yes.
And do you use a evidence logbook or software to track evidence?
Yes.
And does the Delaware County Sheriff's Office have policies regarding the retention of evidence or the handling of evidence?
Yes.
If we can show you Exhibit 400, I believe this is the Delaware County Sheriff's Office policies and procedures that were tendered to us, just to make sure that we are on the same page. Can you see that on your screen?
Yes.
Do you know what that is?
Rules and regulations of the Delaware County Sheriff's Office.
And do you have a date on that first page?
Revised 1978.
Okay. And so these are older
They're
policies.
almost as old as I am.
And are you aware of some newer policies as well?
I don't believe this is the policy and procedure from that time frame.
Right. This would be prior to the most recent or the policies in place now?
No.
Okay. Clarify for me, please.
Are we talking the policy and procedure manual during 2018?
We can. I'm just trying to identify the exhibit at this time.
Oh, sure. Yes, this is rules and regulations.
Okay. And I'm going to ask our team to scroll for you until we get to the more recent version. And if I understood your answer correctly, there's a version that would have been applicable in 2018?
Yes.
While she's scrolling through to about page 181, is this familiar to you, this page?
Yes.
Do you know if this is the page that is applicable in 2018 or today?
I believe so. It looks like the same format.
Okay. And does your policy and procedures manual contain direction on how to handle evidence coming in and out of the evidence room?
Yes.
Does it require you to complete a report?
I'm not sure. I haven't read it in a while.
You haven't updated them since you took over?
No.
What was your policy or your practice when you were an investigator and a deputy sheriff regarding evidence into the evidence room and out?
Yep. So as an investigator, when we seize evidence, we will seize it, we'll tag it, and we'll bag it appropriately, put the proper information on the tag, and we place it in the evidence room. Then our evidence technician then logs it into the system. And then if we are requesting a item to go to the lab, we would just let our evidence technician know, and then the evidence technician does the proper logging documentation, and then we do what we need to do with the evidence.
Do you recall who the evidence technician was in 2018?
Jill Knipper.
And if the evidence was not leaving the sheriff's office, was there any paperwork completed?
No, I don't believe so.
You
would have to ask her. I don't know what she does on her end.
Did you enter the evidence room after Mr. Mullis' criminal trial in 2019?
No.
You never entered the evidence room?
I don't have access into the evidence room. Oh, are you talking about our old office or our new office?
I think both.
Both, okay.
Just after the criminal trial in 2019?
Oh, yes, I did once.
Okay. And is there any documentation of when you did that?
I don't believe so, okay. Unless Jill had documentation. I don't know.
You don't recall creating anything or signing like a check in and out sheet or anything like that?
No.
Okay. In your experience, is evidence handling an important part of law enforcement's job?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about why that's important?
Well, it's for chain of custody.
Real quick before I lose this train of thought, you said that you recalled entering the evidence room once after Mr. Mullis' 2019 criminal trial.
Yes.
Do you recall what year that was?
I don't.
Okay. And if we shift a little bit to your duties in 2018, can you tell us briefly what you were in charge of or what you were doing for the sheriff's office?
I was a patrol deputy and then also assigned to investigations.
Can you tell me a little bit about what your understanding is for the goals of an investigation?
The goals?
In general.
In general?
Mm-hmm.
The goals for an investigation is to perform interviews, collect evidence, and essentially come to a conclusion on a case. I guess every case is different.
Would you say it's investigating whether a crime occurred?
Yes.
Okay. And does your investigation include people outside of you as an investigator? Other people?
Can you refer? I don't know what you mean by that.
Yeah. When you conduct an investigation as a deputy sheriff, are there other people that are a part of that investigation?
Yes, we work alongside with many agencies.
Does that include the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation?
Yes.
The Iowa State Medical Examiner?
Yes.
Other law enforcement local agencies?
Yes.
Do you also consult with first responders or medical personnel in certain investigations?
In certain, yes.
If another person is in your investigation is mistaken about a fact, does that affect your entire investigation?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
It shouldn't be
Can you
objection
rephrase
counter.
that?
We're
I'm
still
not sure
counting
what you mean by
trains.
that.
Sorry.
Sure. If another person who you are working with in an investigation, like a first responder or a medical examiner or another investigator, makes a mistake, in your experience, would that affect your investigation?
It's situational based. Like I said, every case is fluid. Things change.
If someone tells you it's a blue car and it ends up being a gray car, is that a mistake?
Yes.
Have you ever thought you saw someone you knew in Walmart and it turned out it wasn't who you thought it was?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled.
I don't believe, no, I haven't, not in Walmart.
Someplace, I'm trying to give you a hypothetical, I think.
I
Sheriff,
I understand, yes.
Have you made a mistake before?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, nobody's perfect.
When you were conducting the investigation into Mrs. Mullis's death, how did you communicate with other people that you were working with in the investigation?
In person, by phone.
Did you send emails?
Yeah, I'm sure I did.
Did you receive emails?
Yes.
Send or receive text messages?
Yes.
Did you have meetings?
Yes.
Did you share reports with each other?
Yes.
Did you have access to body cam or audio recordings of interviews?
Yes.
What about video of interviews or interactions with witnesses?
Yes.
Would all of these documents and communications be a part of your investigative case file?
Yes.
Going back to Exhibit 400, I want to make sure I find the right page for you. I think it's 222. Do you recall the policy or the procedure in the Sheriff's Office for report writing in 2018?
No.
If you could take a quick look at page 222, which should be on the screen in front of you.
So we're attacking the policy in case there was an error in the report. Unless they missed some evidence or lost
Have you
some
reviewed
evidence.
that?
Yes.
Does it contain information about how to write a report or when a report should be written?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have an investigative technique or procedure that you use to determine how someone was injured?
No.
This caller actually says sheriff on it.
And you've testified previously regarding Amy Mullis's death in your investigation.
Yes.
And we can show you this testimony as well, so I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to trick you. But do you recall testifying August 29th, 2019 in a deposition before the criminal trial?
Yes.
And for the record, that is Exhibit 258, which we've already admitted. And then do you recall testifying at the criminal trial September 19th, 2019?
Yes.
And then you've testified in 2023 in another deposition in this post-conviction action. Is that your memory?
Yes.
Okay. And for the record, the PCR deposition is Exhibit 327.
They just throwing everything at the wall here?
Did you testify truthfully and accurately each of those 3 times?
To my best of my ability, yes.
As my phone is blowing up with suggestions for
Have
Lego,
you learned since then that
for Lego builds.
your testimony at the criminal trial September 19th, 2019 was false?
Don't believe so.
Have you learned that you stated facts that weren't true?
Nothing that was pointed out to me, no.
You don't recall in your 2023 deposition learning that you were incorrect about the times of Google searches?
Yes, I didn't have a clear understanding of the UTC time at that time, yes.
All right, and Mr. Himmelsath, I don't want to repeat all of your prior testimony, so if my questions don't make sense, please let me know. But you have, am I correct that you have a 2-year degree in police science?
Yes.
Okay. And does that 2-year degree that you have cover physics?
That I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look.
Do you recall learning any
physics.
engineering principles in your studies?
No.
This
Anything
is
about
me.
biomechanics and the body?
I don't remember much of college either.
Did you learn about accident reconstruction?
Yes.
Would that have been focused on motor vehicle accidents?
Yes.
And are you a lifelong resident of Delaware County?
No.
Where did you live before Delaware County?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled.
Up in Howard County.
Is Howard County considered a rural area or a farming community?
Yes.
In the course of your experience in your law enforcement career, have you responded to farming accidents?
Yes.
When did you get involved in the investigation or learn about the death of Amy Mullis?
It would have been on the evening of November 10th, 2018.
Do you recall what time?
I came on shift at 5, and I believe around 5:30, 6 o'clock range is when I became aware.
Do you remember how you became aware?
I think I read a call page, and then I spoke to Deputy Thompson.
What did you do after you read that call page and spoke to Deputy Thompson?
Deputy Thompson went out to the farm with me, the Mullis farm.
To the Mullis farm?
Yes.
Do you recall approximately what time you got there?
I think around 6 p.m.
Now they turn the mics on. Now I can turn down my game.
And this would have been November 10th, 2018?
Yes.
And that is the day that Ms. Mullis died?
Yes.
And I don't want you to assume, but do you remember, was it dark outside?
I believe so. Yes.
Was it cold?
Yes.
Was there snow on the ground?
Yes.
Why did you want to go to the farm?
Well, I wanted a better understanding as far as what happened. Deputy Thompson advised me of what had occurred, so I just had asked him if he would take me out to the farm and just kind of walk me through it. So we went to the farm and essentially did a consent approach to the scene, you would say, or the reported area, and Deputy Thompson walked me through.
And the Mullis family gave you consent to examine the shed and the outbuildings?
Yes, they gave consent to Deputy Thompson.
Did you talk to Sheriff LeClaire before you went to the farm?
I don't believe I did, no.
You talked to him while you were there, though?
I honestly don't recall if I did or not.
Would you disagree if the phone record showed that you were on the phone with Sheriff LeClaire while you're at the farm?
Yeah, if the phone records show it, yes. I don't recall speaking with him.
So you don't recall what you talked about then?
I do not, no.
Is there a report that you completed regarding your activities on November 10th, 2018?
I didn't have access to all my reports for today, but I believe there would have been.
We'll try to look and see if we can find a report for you, but we'll move on, okay?
Okay.
Do you recall walking around the farmyard that night?
I wasn't walking around the farmyard, but I was walking around the red shed, yes.
Okay. And did you see anything unusual?
You'd have to be more specific than that. What do you mean by unusual?
Well, you previously testified that you saw nothing unusual outside of the shed.
Correct.
Okay. And that included that you didn't notice any footprints or tracks. Is that still your recollection?
Correct, yes.
Did you see surveillance cameras while you were there November 10th?
No.
How wide was the door to get into the shed?
That I'm not sure. It wasn't very wide.
Did you take any photographs while you were there?
No.
Have you reviewed the photographs that Deputies Thompson and Holub took earlier in the day?
It's been a while since I've seen them, but I did see them at a later date.
Would it help you if you could review those today?
I have a general understanding of the majority of them.
He says no.
Okay. So is your testimony that you don't know how wide the doorway was to get into the shed?
Not to exact, no. Not exact measurements, no. But I do believe we have photographs of that.
Okay. Could you and I have walked into the shed together, arm in arm?
I don't think so.
Arm in arm?
If my memory serves me right, it's 2 to 3 feet wide, maybe.
Could we have made out behind the shed? What is she asking?
Did you try to move the door?
I did not.
How wide was the aisle or the walkway once you entered the shed?
Again, off memory, I believe around that 30-some inch range.
She said the quiet part out loud.
And you would
yes, he's a handsome
refer to
fellow.
Reports that you had written?
Well, we took photographs of the scene.
Can we show Exhibit 311? Mr. Himsath, I believe these are photographs taken by the Delaware County Sheriff's Office that you might be referring to. And they were tendered to me as a PDF that has a total of 20 pictures, so we'll have to scroll through. Is this the shed that you were referring to?
Yes.
And I'm sorry, Nicole, the opening there, is that the door that you were referring to?
Yes.
Okay. And then if we can go down to 19, I'm sorry. Do you know what this picture is showing us?
Yes.
What is it?
This is that alleyway. You come into the front door, and then when you immediately look left.
So this would depict how wide it was. This is how you documented it?
Yes. Well, I did not document this.
Your sheriff's office, your investigation did?
Deputy Thompson did right after the 911 call.
Okay. How tall were the chemical totes? Because the picture doesn't go all the way up, right?
I believe they're too high because I don't think a third one stacked on top of that would clear the door clearance. I'm not sure, though.
Was it above your head?
Yes.
And how tall are you?
Pretty short.
I think I'm going to have to ask you to be a little more specific there.
Like 5'7".
Okay. So more than 6 feet?
She's like, I like taller men.
Were they taller than 7 feet?
Yes.
So she's,
and then if we could go back up to 18.
His birthday.
Page 18 of 311 for the record, I'm sorry. All right, Mr. Himsath, what are we looking at here in the middle picture?
Yes, so you go down that alley where you've seen the corn rig laying on the ground, and then you look immediately to your right, and that is displayed just down that walkway. That's the animal carrier crate.
And these are these the only two places you can walk in that shed?
Yes.
And this is the documentation we have of how wide that area was as well?
Yes.
Do you make suggestions for the next inappropriate question she asks the sheriff?
Did you walk down
Are you single?
Towards the pet carrier while you were in the shed?
Yes.
And did you make any observations about the carrier?
It's half pulled out on the shelf.
And what are we seeing there in the photo under the pet carrier?
Some grain augers.
What is a grain auger?
It augers grain.
For those of us that aren't farmers, what does that mean?
It means it moves the flow of grain through a tube.
And so the green and the black long cylinder objects we see in the pictures, those are the augers?
Yes.
And they move?
Well, they don't right there.
But they can move?
Yeah, they need to be inserted into a steel tube, and then a motor runs that and augers grain.
So there's a piece of them, like the circular or the rounded piece that moves around? Is that right?
It's like a drill bit in the center of a pipe.
A smaller version would be like an ice auger.
Okay. I'm sorry, I still don't know what that is.
She doesn't ice fish either.
Did you step on these augers?
No.
Did you touch them?
No.
Did you attempt to manipulate them or move them in any way?
No.
I want to show you Exhibit 269 now. When you're in that walkway, what's to the right of you?
Be like a throw bale wagon for hay.
Did you make any observations about what was in that wagon?
I don't recall.
Have you seen this photo before?
So there's tanks in the wagon.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat that?
There's tanks in the wagon.
Tanks?
Water, chemical tanks. The way that's what this picture displays.
Do you also see a stuffed animal, a kid's toy?
Yes.
Counsel, just for the record, which exhibit is this? There's a number of stickers on it.
This has been marked 269 for the purposes of the post-conviction. At trial, it was, I think, I can't read that, 103.
Thank you.
Okay. You can take that down. Thank you. Mr. Himaseth, did you talk with Todd or Tristan Mullis on November 10th?
No.
Did your other deputies in your office talk with them?
Yes.
Did you review their reports?
Yes.
And have you reviewed any body cam, video, or audio of those interviews?
No.
Did you also review a report written by the sheriff at the time, Mr. LeClaire?
Yes.
And I believe these have already been admitted, but I'm referring to Exhibit 201 and 221 regarding Sheriff LeClaire's report and his deposition. Have you had an opportunity to review any of the depositions given in this matter?
Not of other people, no.
Okay. And then Exhibit 318 is Thompson's report, and 264 is Holub's report.
Thank you, Sinbad. I'll stop by the post office maybe on lunch.
Do you recall whether your theory when you left the farm November 10th, what your theory was regarding how Miss Mullis died?
I honestly didn't have a theory. I asked Deputy Thompson to walk me out there, or take me out there, and to describe what was explained to him. My next step after that was just the autopsy.
When did you learn there was going to be an autopsy?
I believe the next day.
When you were on the farm and in the shed, did you find anything that disproved the idea or the theory that Ms. Mullis had tripped and fallen?
No.
So you said a moment ago, I think, that the next day you learned there was going to be an autopsy. Do you remember who you learned that from?
I don't. I'm assuming that was communicated from the hospital.
Do you recall having conversations with Mr. LeClaire?
Well, we had a lot of conversations. John and I did. He may have told me, or Mike Croffel. I know Mike Croffel with DCI was contacted. John had contacted him, so I may have heard it from Mike too.
So, John or Mr. LeClaire was having conversations with DCI agent Croffel?
Yes.
And were you a part of those, or you just were told about them?
No, I wasn't a part of those. I was just told about it.
What else happened on November 11th?
November 11th?
Yes, the second day of your investigation.
I believe I came in and then I was briefed on the rest of it. We had conversations with DCI. I talked with John, and the next step was I believe I had conversations with DCI Special Agent Mike Croffel about attending the autopsy. That was the next thing I did, I believe, in the case.
Were you aware that Mike Croffel told LeClaire to lock Todd into his story on the 10th?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Were you
I learned
aware?
that from reviewing his report.
Hey. Interesting.
Do you recall any other investigative activities on the 11th?
Not offhand, no.
Do you know what happened next in the investigation?
I went to the autopsy.
Do you recall what date that was?
I don't.
If the autopsy report is dated November 12th, 2018, would you accept that?
Yes.
There's been testimony about another deputy we haven't talked about yet, Keith Rowley.
Yes.
Who's Keith?
Keith was a deputy at the sheriff's office during this time.
And is he no longer a deputy?
Correct, he retired.
What did you learn about Deputy Rowley as it related to your investigation?
We had learned that he had a previous affair before this incident with Amy Mullis.
What were the dates of that affair?
What?
That I don't know. I was just told it was way before this incident, and that him and his wife were in a good place at the time that this incident occurred.
For clarity of the record, when this incident occurred, you're talking about Amy's death on November 10th?
Yes.
Okay. So
A deputy who investigated her death had
there's
had an
been
affair with her
testimony
previously?
about clearing Deputy Rowley as a suspect. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Were you involved in that?
Not directly, no.
Why was that?
That was between the sheriff and DCI.
I did not know this fact. I knew that she had been allegedly had 2 affairs, but I didn't know
So
the third
were
one
you
with the
indirectly
sheriff
involved
or a deputy.
in that part of the investigation?
Yes.
What did you do?
I was in the office, I don't remember the date of it. I was in the office and Keith had came in to the office. I believe DCI was present within our office, and Keith had asked to have a conversation with us quick and in the sheriff's office, and that's when he had disclosed to us that he had a previous affair with Amy. He was currently working that day. And then that was it. It was short, it was brief. I left it up to John and I think Mike Croffle or John Turbot to address that.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about what a patrol log is?
Patrol log is a daily activity report. You write down calls for service, town time, in and out town time.
Do you complete one every day?
I do not.
Why not?
If I get busy, I just don't have time to fill one out.
Are you supposed to complete one every day?
Yeah.
I guess I've never been told that I had to, but we had an understanding that if I get busy during the day, I don't fill one out.
Rank has its privileges.
Is there another another avenue to see where a deputy was during patrol?
Yes.
What's that?
Well, there's actually, yes, we have 2 GPSs in our car, one called Mach and one called AVL.
One called
MACH.
Mach.
And then the other called AVL.
Were you using both of those in 2018?
Yes. No. Yes, we were, sorry, yes.
And we have some prior testimony that that could be reviewed by the sheriff, those
Correct.
GPS I don't know if I should call it a document. How would you describe it?
I've never accessed it. So I just know it's called AVL. It's a GPS in our car. When we start our car up, it activates. And then if we shut our car off, I don't know how long it stays on. We've never been told at that time what it consists of. We just know it's a GPS system and the sheriff had access to the platform to view it.
Did you retain any of that information in your file?
I did not.
Have you reviewed it since 2018?
Reviewed what?
The GPS information, data?
No, it's a platform, and I was told that the software, there's a certain time period it's retained for, and then it's gone. I don't know what the retention period is. Like I said, I didn't have access to that.
Okay. And we've previously admitted exhibits 208 and 209, which are patrol logs, and if we'll pull those up for you here in a moment.
Are they saying third-party culprit here? What are they saying? Are they using the fact that there's no record to say it could have been him?
Counsel, for whatever it's worth, I show 208 as being admitted, but not 209. I don't know if you want
Yes, Your Honor, we were just
double-check that.
conferring about that,
Okay.
and I believe we have an agreement to admit 209 as well, just so the record is clear.
Definitely be a shift of horse mid-race.
Should I admit 209?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bakke.
Mr. Himmelsath, on your screen, are you seeing exhibit 208? 209? I'm sorry, I can't see that thoroughly. All right, 208. Have you seen this before?
Yes.
What is it?
Patrol log.
For who?
Keith Raleigh.
And this would have been in addition to the GPS information and data that the sheriff reviewed.
I don't know if we reviewed it, but we have it.
As far as information regarding where Raleigh was at the time that Amy Mullis was injured.
Yes.
Okay.
That's third party.
And then if we can flip to 209.
It's a bold allegation that she's flirting around.
And scroll so that Mr. Himmelsath can see the multiple pages. And when you are ready, if you can let us know what these are.
Patrol logs.
And do these include other deputies in addition to Mr. Raleigh?
Yes.
Do you know if Deputy Rowley responded to the dispatch on November 10th, 2018 regarding Mrs. Mullis?
No.
And do you recall testifying previously that Deputy Riley was nowhere near the Mullis residence?
Yes.
Is the basis for that statement the patrol log and the GPS that we don't have to look at today?
It's what I was told from the sheriff.
So you don't have any personal knowledge about how close Rowley was to the Mullis farm?
No.
Do you know if you learned about Rowley and reviewed the GPS data before autopsy or after?
I didn't review any of that. That wasn't my responsibility in this case.
Okay, but maybe I'm misunderstanding. You said you were in the office with the sheriff while he was reviewing it?
I was present after we had briefly spoke to Keith, and he had brought it up on his computer and started reviewing it. I don't believe I stayed in there the whole time. I had other avenues that I was working on, and I just had asked him, I said, please preserve that when you're done. He finished, obviously, and he had communicated with DCI that Keith was not near that location.
At that point, did you consider him cleared as a suspect?
I believe that's what John Turbid and Mike Croffel and I had. I didn't specifically come out and say he's cleared. That was a determination from Mike and John.
Okay. And if you're clearing a suspect, does that mean that you've already decided there was a crime?
Yeah. Or a suspected crime.
Okay. Let's move on to the autopsy.
Okay.
You would have attended that at the medical examiner's office in Ankeny, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What did you take with you when you went to the autopsy?
I took the corn rake and the clothing from Amy.
And have you seen those since the autopsy?
Yes.
When have you seen them?
During trial, several times, I guess. I don't know how many specific times.
Okay.
I brought some of the stuff up the other day in bags.
Right. It was here in the courtroom earlier this week.
Yes.
Have you looked at it in the evidence room as well?
Just once, yes. That was post-trial.
During the post-conviction?
Yes.
What did you do with the corn rake during the autopsy?
I just brought it into the medical examiner's office and gave it to the technicians, Kelly Cruz.
And were you in the room with Mrs. Mullis's body?
Yes.
Did you make any observations about the medical examiner and her assistants in the corn rake?
No.
You didn't see them look at the corn rake?
Yeah, they reviewed the corn rake, yeah.
Okay. Did you come to any conclusions during the autopsy about the corn rake?
I did not. I was there just solely for observation.
Did you complete a report about your observations?
No.
Do you think you should have completed a report?
Well, no, because the reason why we take somebody to autopsy, that's for their determination.
What did you and Dr. Cruz talk about?
We didn't talk about much. She did her examination, I just stood by, and then we talked about her conclusion at the end about that it was, she was going to rule it a homicide, or is it possible homicide?
Did you tell her how Miss Mullis's body was found?
Yes. I gave her the description that was explained to me, yes.
And that was a description that Deputy Thompson and Holub had gotten from Todd and Tristan Mullis?
Correct.
So did you have any firsthand knowledge about how Miss Mullis's body was found?
No, I did not talk to Todd or Tristan.
Before the autopsy, had you seen any reenactment of how Miss Mullis's body was found?
No.
Is it possible you gave Dr. Cruz incorrect information about how the body was found?
I don't believe so. I stated exactly what was described to me by Deputy Thompson.
Can we pull up Thompson's? I want to just give you Exhibit 300 to review, which I believe is Deputy Thompson's report. Can you let me know if that is correct?
Yes.
Would you take a moment to review it and see if this is the information you had when you went to the autopsy?
It is.
And now I'm going to switch to Exhibit 217.
You know what there wasn't in this case?
Have you seen this before?
Yes.
There wasn't.
And for the record,
overkill.
this is also, it's in the exhibits twice, 254, I think, as part of the medical examiner's photographs.
This is the type of case you would expect to see overkill.
Can you tell us what we're looking at here?
That'd be the inside of the Carhartt coat.
How many arrows are there?
4.
Do you know what the arrows are pointing to?
I believe they were pointing to the holes in the coat.
Are you aware of any photographs with arrows from the other items of clothing, the sweatshirt or the t-shirt?
No, whatever photos we have would be maintained in our case file.
Okay.
Yes. Or at the medical examiner's file.
Okay. And so this was was this the information you got from Dr. Cruz at the end of the autopsy, that she found 4 holes in the coat?
What do you mean by got from her?
That she told you, that you learned?
Objection, calls for hearsay.
Overruled.
That was a while ago. I'm not sure. I know there's holes in the coat. I don't remember seeing them take this photograph. But yeah, there was holes in the coat.
Okay.
My opinion.
Do you
might be
recall
shifting.
testifying previously in 2023 that Dr. Cruz told you there were 6 holes in the coat?
If that was my testimony, yes.
You would agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And you would agree with me that this photo only demonstrates 4 holes?
There's 4 arrows. The lab techs must have taken that, yes.
Okay, we can take it down. What did you do after the autopsy in your investigation? Not in your personal life, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes. I made contact with John Turbett and Mike Croffel and just explained to them that this is a potential homicide investigation, and then we proceeded with search warrants and interviews.
Do you recall what activities specifically you did, like which search warrants you drafted or any interviews you did between the autopsy on the 12th and November 16th?
I drafted quite a few search warrants in reference to the farm, seizing electronics, and then we did an assortment of interviews. John and I split up people and performed interviews.
Who were you talking to?
Quite a list. I don't know them all off the top of my head, honestly. I don't know if there was 25 or 30 interviews.
I'm not trying to ask you for specific names, but could you characterize what type of people you were interviewing? Were they other law enforcement or lay witnesses, fact witnesses?
Just essentially just lay witnesses. We would get information that somebody might know something. We'd go to them. We'd speak to them. And then we would just move on to the next.
Everyone be kind in chat.
Would
Let's
these
be respectful for
include
everybody.
friends or family of Mrs. Mullis?
Yes.
Colleagues or coworkers of Mrs. Mullis?
Assortments, yes.
What did you learn during that time period?
To the 16th?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I don't recall.
Okay, that's okay. I'm sorry. I don't want you to.
I would have to review my interview summaries. The majority of that time frame, I believe I was preparing search warrants.
Were you reviewing interviews done by other officers or getting updates from them?
I'm sure during that course, yes.
Did you come to any conclusions before November 16th?
I don't remember.
Did you have a suspect November 16th?
When was the autopsy?
The 12th.
We had suspects.
On the 16th?
I don't know the dates.
When?
I don't know. I don't remember what we did between the 12th and the 16th.
Who were the suspects?
But we would have had two suspects at that point.
Who were they?
Would have been Jerry Frazier and Todd Mullis, to my recollection.
That's the farmhand and the man in orange.
Okay. And so at that point, Rowley was not a suspect. Is that my understanding? Is that right?
I don't know the date that the sheriff had told me about watching the AVL. I'm unaware of the sheriff's conversation with DCI.
If you testified in your 2023 deposition that you let Deputy Rowley know he was clear November 14th, would you accept that?
Yes.
Why was Jerry Frazier a suspect?
I think we established there was communication between Amy and him.
Why was Todd a suspect?
During that time period?
Yes.
I'd have to review my reports on that.
You don't have any recollection or memory?
It came out through witness interviews, like with Terry Stainer. Through the course, we started hearing about relationship problems with Todd. John and I did.
Okay.
And at that point, I don't know the time frames on those, but.
Do you recall Todd being interviewed at the sheriff's office on November 16th?
That probably would have been when John Turbid interviewed him. Yes.
Would you have been in the building?
Yes.
Did you listen or watch?
Not the whole time, briefly.
Did you talk with Agent Turbid before the interview?
Yes.
Were you aware that Turbid was going to accuse Todd of murdering Amy?
No.
Have you reviewed any of the recordings from that interview?
It was a long time ago, briefly.
If I tell you that Turbid did accuse Todd of murdering Amy in that interview, would you disagree with me?
I don't know what the context of the interview was.
Do you want me to try to find it and play it for you, or take time to review it?
Are you wanting me to agree to that?
I'm wanting to know if you disagree that Turbid told Todd or accused Todd of murdering Amy November 16th.
I believe that the topic would have came up. I don't know the context of the interview.
We need a break to find a video.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what John had spoke to him about.
Okay. And you haven't reviewed Turbid's depositions or trial testimony?
No.
His reports?
No.
If his reports and his audio and the video indicate he accused Mr. Mullis of murdering his wife November 16th,
then that
would you accept that?
That would be accurate then, yes.
On November 16th, in your investigation, had you obtained any cell phone records of the victim or the suspects?
That I don't know. I forget the date that we actually executed the warrant at the house.
If I told you executed the warrant after the interview with Mr. Mullis later on November 16th, would you agree?
Yes.
Were you there for that?
For the warrant?
Yes.
Yes.
Was Agent Turbot there?
Yes.
Was Mr. Mullis there?
Yes.
Was his sister Lynn White there?
I don't remember if she was or not. I know Bob Saber was, a few other DCI agents, and a couple other deputies from our office. She may have been there at some point. I don't know.
Okay. Bob Saber, is he an attorney?
Yes.
Did you know he was an attorney when you went to the farm?
Yes, shortly afterwards.
Was he there for Mr. Mullis?
I don't know why I was there. I would assume he was there for Mr. Mullis, yeah.
What did you seize November 16th on that search warrant?
See if we can get some audio fixed here. We lost a feed. Bum, bum, bum. What happened up in Iowa? Do you guys just lose power?
Electronic. And then we, some of them, sorry, yes.
And do you recall there being an iPad?
Yes.
And do you recall asking for a password?
I do, yes.
Do you recall testifying about Todd consenting and giving you that password?
Yes.
And Todd consulted with Mr. Sabers and then gave you the password. Is that your recollection?
Yes.
Do you recall testifying at trial that Todd hesitated before giving you the password?
Yes.
Do you think telling a jury that he hesitated had a bad connotation?
Objection. This is, it's an improper question. His opinion on what the impact on the jury was is not relevant.
Sustained.
I'll rephrase, Your Honor. What inference were you making when you said Todd hesitated?
I'm going to object again, Your Honor. This is still commenting on what the impact on the jury was. The record speaks for itself. The transcript's already in evidence.
Sustained.
Why did you say he hesitated?
Because he hesitated.
Because he talked to his lawyer? That's hesitation? I'm trying to understand your thought process there.
Yeah, so I asked him for the password, and he hesitated, and then he consulted with his attorney, and then he gave me the password.
And you were wearing your body camera at that time?
Yes, it's documented by video.
Do you recall testifying at the criminal trial in 2019 about the results of examinations on this electronic evidence that you seized?
Yes.
And you're not certified to conduct electronic device analysis?
The physical extractions, the digital imaging of a device, no.
And do you have any specific training on interpreting extractions?
For a Cellbrite, we are provided a Cellbrite reader, and we don't need to have a certification on that. The platform is very easily navigatable, and you can't alter it. So no law enforcement has to have certification on the reader program that we are provided from the, well, we use Ward Crawley, and he's certified on Cellbrite, so he would do the examination on the examiner, and then he provides the reader program to law enforcement.
Okay. But my question was, do you have any specific training on interpreting the extraction results?
On the reader?
Yes.
No, there is none.
Okay. There's no training available to you?
Not that I'm aware of.
There is
no.
training.
Okay.
You can get training.
Did you testify that the Google searches were all done by Todd Mullis?
I'm going to object. The transcript speaks for itself.
Overruled.
I don't remember exactly what my transcript, I didn't go over my trial transcript, but is it possible that more than Todd searched on that iPad? Yeah, it's possible in certain categories. It's possible. But it's not reasonable in some other categories of that search.
In addition to Ward Crawley, do you recall also speaking with Roman Gamble at DCI?
Yes,
Did that happen in 2024
it did.
during this post-conviction?
It did.
After you learned about Mr. Castle's examination and analysis?
I don't know what his analysis is.
You haven't reviewed that?
No.
You have reviewed parts of the post-conviction filing, though?
What do you mean by the filing?
Well, in your 2023 deposition in this post-conviction,
Just a few paragraphs. There was, to my knowledge, there was several filings, but I've only read a few paragraphs.
thank you for that clarification. Your deposition made it sound like you read everything.
No, no.
Were you aware that the iPad did not have cellular data in 2018?
Upon the time that we seized the iPad, I didn't know. I know the iPad is either cellular or Wi-Fi capable. I just seized the device and then gave it to Ward Crawley.
I'm not trying to be flippant, but if a device like an iPad or a cell phone does not have cellular data, does it work in a rural area like a cornfield?
Only if there's Wi-Fi available.
Is there generally Wi-Fi available in a cornfield?
Well, I mean, it depends. We're not going to get far-fetched on this, but there are farms that have Wi-Fi capabilities that extend beyond the house or a residence. Yes, that is possible. Anything is possible. In a cornfield, it depends on how close you're to other residents. This is a hypothetical, but yes.
Did you do any investigation into where Todd Mullis was at the time you thought these searches were being done?
There's no way to know where he was. No.
Didn't you also seize his cell phone?
I did.
Didn't you also have it examined and analyzed?
Yes.
Are you aware of cell
fix the
tower
audio here.
records from cell phones?
Yes.
Are you saying you couldn't have used those to determine where Todd was?
Pause.
I had asked Ward Crawley about that for the Cellbrite, about the location data, and he didn't provide me with anything.
Could you have talked to witnesses about the dates in question and if they had seen Todd that day?
Yeah.
Farming community, are you familiar with the time period that farmers are most busy?
Yes.
When is that?
Well, weather dependent, spring and fall.
And have you ever seen someone in a field late into the night?
Yes.
Early in the morning?
Yes.
Around the clock?
I haven't seen somebody in the field 24 hours personally.
But at any time of the day?
Yeah, any time of the day is possible, correct.
And spring would be planting season, is that fair? Fair?
Yes.
Is fall harvest?
Yes.
Some of the searches that you attributed to Todd would have been occurring in spring or fall, right?
Yes, some of them were in May and then some were in January.
Okay. Did you do any investigation into Todd's activities in May or January? Or what was the other month you said? I'm sorry.
May and, well, there's several sections. Roman Gamble, he created a spreadsheet for the layout, so it's easily read.
Okay.
For visual aid.
Did you do any investigation as to those time periods where Todd was?
I don't believe so.
Did you talk to any witnesses about Todd's activities?
Objection, that's overly broad.
I'm sorry. Your Honor, if I finish my thought. During those time periods of the Google searches?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
Do you have any information from your investigation that Todd would have been able to do a search from the iPad while he was planting corn?
No.
Okay. Your testimony at the 2019 trial regarding the Google search warrant return and the iPad, all of that comes from Ward Crowley's work? Am I understanding that?
What do you mean by that?
You testified about the timing and the content of the searches and what they were done on. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you've told us that you were wrong about what UTC time was?
Yes, I didn't understand the time.
And so you testified that some searches were done late at night, but that wasn't true.
Well, correct. It wouldn't have been accurate because the conversion wasn't completed.
Okay. And you testified about looking at the iPad and the browser search history?
Yes, Board and I did.
That is not the same as a forensic digital extraction, though. Is it the same?
Then what are you comparing it to?
What you did to the iPad.
What Board and I sat down and went through as far as the comparison?
Nope, that's one thing, right?
Okay, that's the device.
And then you personally looked at the iPad in your hands.
Okay.
Just like you would for your teenager to
Okay.
see what they've been Googling, right?
Oh, sure, yes.
There's a lot of
You
leading.
did that.
I looked at when we were down there, we looked into the, not the search history. It would have been like the Google bar where it saves your last 10 or 11 searches, but those displayed on the Cellbrite extraction.
Okay. I think I'm good.
I think you're
Have you listened to the 911 call from November 10th, 2018?
Yes. It's been a while, but yes.
Do you recall when you first listened to it?
I don't.
Would it have been before you arrested Todd?
I don't believe I listened to that. It was thrown into the case file. I don't believe I listened to the 911 call before we made the arrest.
Okay. And you arrested Todd several months after Amy's death?
Yes.
Do you recall the date?
I don't.
If I told you your body cam reflects February 29th, 2019, would you agree?
Yes.
February 28th, I'm sorry. February doesn't usually have 29 days, right?
Yes.
Usually.
Did you arrest Todd at his home at his farm?
No.
Where did you arrest Todd at?
Be a hog building on 270th Avenue.
How did you know that's where Todd was?
It was a lucky guess. We've seen his truck there.
Okay. And did Todd resist?
No.
When you approached the hog building, do you recall what you said to Todd?
I had opened the door and Todd was sitting there, and then I asked him to come outside.
Do you recall telling him, I have your electronic devices to return to you?
Yes.
Were you carrying a box?
Yes.
Was that in fact a lie?
Objection to that characterization.
Overruled.
There was no electronics in the box. It was a safety precaution.
Or a lie.
So the box was empty?
Yes.
When Todd came out of the building, what did you do?
I believe I placed him under arrest.
Did you place handcuffs on him?
Yes.
And then what happened?
Then he was escorted to Eric Brooks' squad car and placed inside.
When you say squad car, does that also include a truck?
It was a truck, yes.
Truck.
Is it common for your sheriff's office to have trucks instead of a four-door sedan?
Yeah, it was a crew cab Dodge.
And was Agent Turbin on the scene with you?
He was in the truck.
And so you placed Mr. Mullis under arrest and then placed him in the truck with Agent Turbin?
Yes.
What was your plan for having Mr. Mullis with Agent Turbin?
John wanted to speak with him again.
After he was arrested?
Yes.
At the time you arrested Todd in February of 2019, you knew he had counsel. Did you?
Well, Bob Sabers, yes.
Did you coordinate with Bob Sabers so that Mr. Mullis could have turned himself in?
I didn't.
Do you remember discussing that with your investigative team?
I don't believe so. It may have came up. I don't know. I don't remember. That was a long time ago, but as far as I know, no.
Did you consider yourself to be the lead investigator for the sheriff's office?
Yeah, so I'm the lead point of contact for the sheriff's office, and John is the lead point contact for DCI. And so the two of us, we team together for the lead point of contact, yes.
You could you have contacted Mr. Sabers and asked him to have his client turn himself in?
Yes, that is possible.
After Todd's arrest, did you read him any Miranda warnings?
I did not.
Did you hear anybody read him Miranda warnings?
No.
You knew Agent Turbo was planning to talk to him in the car?
Yes.
And I've seen this video, so it appears that you leave the truck and go back to the hog barn. Is that your recollection?
Yeah, I think we just stand around outside.
Did you get into the truck at any point?
No.
At the time you arrested Todd, had you listened to the 911 call?
I don't believe so.
Had you listened to the dispatch recordings?
I don't believe so.
Have you listened to them now?
It's been a while, but yes, it was around trial time.
And that would have been September of 2019?
Yes.
Do you recall specifically listening to the 911 call and to the dispatch, like radio traffic?
Yes, that's what we would have had, yes.
I ask because for me, they're two separate recordings and files. Do they appear that way to you?
Yeah, I believe it's all one, just the 911 recording with audio, but yes.
So have you ever listened to a separate recording that's the dispatchers? Okay. Is it always just been one file?
I believe so.
Okay.
She was wrong.
I don't want to play the wrong thing for you. Do you recall the prosecutor from the AG's office at the trial in 2019, who that was?
Yes, Maureen.
What was her last name?
I believe Hughes.
Had you worked with her before?
No.
Have you worked with her since?
No.
Do you know if she's still in Iowa?
Last I heard, I think she's in Tennessee. I don't know if that's accurate, to be honest.
Did you assist her in preparation for trial?
Well, I didn't assist her. I mean, we trial prepped.
Did you help her with evidence and exhibits?
Yes.
Specifically the 911 call?
Yes.
He's getting thirsty right now.
Do you recall calling her the night before Todd's cross-exam at the criminal trial?
Yes.
Was that after 10 p.m.?
Probably was. I don't know the time, but yes, I talked to her.
Was that about the 911 call?
Yes.
Were you excited?
I don't know if I was excited. I mean, what do you mean by excited? No, we talked about the 911 call and we discussed if she was going to use a 911 call. That was the conversation.
Did you learn something new that prompted that phone call?
About what the...
About the 911 call?
Yeah. Well, about what the contents of it, whether it said one thing or the other. Yeah, that's what was the discussion about, yes.
Where did you learn that?
I don't remember how we got that information, honestly.
Did you document any report about how you got that information?
I did not, no.
Do you recall the name of the person?
No, I don't know if somebody sent me a message or called me. I don't remember that, but essentially it was a tip.
And this tip tells you there's something else being said on this 911 call?
Yes.
Had you ever heard that before?
I've never listened to the audio before that.
So you're near the end of a murder trial and you never listened to the 911 audio before?
I don't. I did not listen to it. We obtained it, we put it in the case file, but I don't believe I ever listened to it.
Virginia, no, it's not this guy.
Do you know if anyone else
It was
listened to
another
it
deputy.
before trial?
Objection calls for speculation.
Do you know?
That I don't know.
Did you have any discussions about the 911 call being an exhibit at trial?
It was an exhibit.
Do you recall talking to the county attorney about it?
About entering it as an exhibit?
Yes.
I think that's common practice.
Are you aware that any statement made by a criminal defendant has to be disclosed to him before trial?
Objection. This witness's knowledge of the rules of criminal procedure is not relevant to the things at issue.
I would say he's trained on those and he knows what Miranda is, so he can answer the question.
Overruled, the witness can answer if he knows.
I don't know.
Do you think it would be important evidence if the defendant or a suspect made an admission?
But yeah, I think that's important, yeah.
Do you think the statements that the AG
They surprised him with that.
argued Mr. Mullis made are prejudicial?
That wasn't my decision.
I'm asking for your opinion.
No objection.
Prejudicial? I don't know.
Do you think they were indicative of guilt?
As far as the content,
Well, the new statements that you guys discovered in the middle of trial, were those important to you?
they're important to the case
Why?
because of the content.
Because why?
I'm not quite sure what you're asking me. The content, the Maureen pointed out the audio, and she made the argument. I had no involvement in that. So whatever the content is the content is.
As an investigator,
Okay.
disparaging comments about a victim, are those important to you?
From a defendant, yes.
Or from a suspect?
Yes.
Maureen was a prosecutor,
Your Honor,
right?
I don't think I have any choice but to play it. And if we're okay, we haven't tested audio yet to make sure it works. The 911 call is Exhibit 293.
And 293 has not been admitted.
So it like cuts off, and so I have to put both of the files in that folder. Yeah. I would just put the folder in the you have any objection?
The 911 call is in evidence, so I have no objection. It was admitted in the underlying trial, so it's already in evidence in this case.
So I guess 293 will be admitted separately then if it is identified. Obviously, it is part of the underlying record as well.
And I would just clarify for that, as long as this is the same version and file as the, so as long as they agree to that and it's not a different version, I have no objection.
We don't want a new enhanced audio argument, I hope. And then,
Your Honor, would you prefer to take a break and we can play it for the state and make sure there's no problem with it?
that might be the safer bet. Why don't we go ahead and do that? And then also, any audio recordings will not be reported, just to clarify that. So let's go ahead and take about 15 minutes and we'll pick back up around 10:30. Court's in recess till then.
All right. This is fascinating. But this got more interesting for me. This just got more interesting for me. I did not know. First of all, I didn't follow this case the first time. I did not know that there was a deputy, a sheriff's deputy, who told basically Internal Affairs that, hey, by the way, I had a thing with the victim in this murder trial. I didn't know that was a thing. And that the information about his location was never preserved. It was just the sheriff said it wasn't him. He said he checked it out and said it wasn't him. That's interesting. There's a lot of evidence still that is. Here's where I'm at. Aside from the third-party culprits that may exist, the defense wants to point the finger at, as improbable as it may be, I do believe an argument can be made that this was accident. And I'm basing that off of the fact for a couple things. First of all, there are only 4 holes in the outer clothing that she was wearing. And the other holes are on the inside, on her. There would be more holes. There would be more holes in that coat if it was somebody swinging over and over with that rake and causing those holes. So it had to have been one sudden movement that punctured the coat, and then subsequent movements that were less forceful because the rake was not fully removed from the coat. It was moved from her back, but not the coat before it punctured again. That it fits better with somebody having a terrible and horrific accident and trying to get up and not being able to get up. There's room there to say that this could have happened. That's setting aside all their marriage was in shambles. She was filing for divorce. There had been affairs. He basically said, over your dead body, or am I going to lose my farm? Set that aside. There is a way to say that this happened. If it would probably be easier if somebody could set up a computer program and say, here's how it works. Okay, we've got the rake. We've got her. She's trying to pull the thing off the shelf. She's not able to climb and lift her hands above her head, so she's using the rake. It comes off. She loses her balance because she's standing on something, and she falls on the rake. That's the first impact, and that's sudden. That's major. That's the one that does most of the damage. She is, mortally wounded at this point, but not dead, and she's trying to get up and falls again. And that causes the others. I think there could be an argument made that, with a computer model, you could show that how all these holes were made with 2 falls, possibly 3. The third one might have been something that she brushed when she fell down the side. If that's the case, it should have been presented to the jury, even for them to weigh it and to rule it out and say, no, he's guilty, which would mean the lawyers did make a mistake in not presenting that. Aaron, I haven't been following it closely. It is sad. Have a lot of respect for both. I met both those her attorneys, and I've had family members on the show. His attorney family members, the wife and sister. And yeah, I like them. I like them as people. It's sad that it went to that. I hope everyone gets paid and they can move on and it won't poison the water. If somebody could recreate that and we could watch that video of a figure falling and how it could happen, I think we would, even those of us who are very skeptical of it being an accident would say, okay, yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, there is somebody who's trying to get up off this rake and falls again. And also, if this was murder, okay, this is you're saying that this husband hated his wife so much that he could, attack her with basically a pitchfork, a right angle pitchfork. But there was just one major blow and then another little blow. But he didn't leave her dead. He didn't kill her. Right? He would have had to leave with her still being alive And he didn't push her down to the ground. She was on all fours, like trying to crawl at the time. That's the position she was left in. That's the position she died in. And she was in that position long enough that when the son went out and got Dad and they came and checked and rolled her over, she'd already, from being in that position, she'd already had bruising on her face and the blood pooling and everything else. I don't know. Reasonable doubt doesn't really apply to this type of appeal. Well, here's the problem, Libby. It does and it doesn't. We're not retrying the case here, right? The judge is not listening to all the evidence to say, you're right. It wasn't him. The judge is listening to the evidence to say, you're right. The jury should have heard this. And then they could have ruled it out if they wanted to. But the lawyers were wrong to not bring this up. They were wrong to say, you're right, it was murder. But it wasn't our guy. That's the bar, and I can see it. I can see why the Innocence Project picked this one up, not because he's necessarily innocent, but because there is an argument that can be made that the argument that it was an accident should have been presented in court to the jury. All right. This was no accident. There could have been holes in the coat, not with arrows, or not as large. The people that examined the coat said no, there were no other holes. We got that testimony already. A crime scene reconstruction, a proper one like this, can run $50,000. They're not cheap to do. I know there's some people who've done some lower price point ones, let's say like Karen Reed backing up the car and John O'Keefe's body and everything. Some of those are a little bit cheaper, but a proper one for this, you're at a lot of money. Wasn't he isolating her? Was a DV a part of the trial? I don't know if DV was. Affairs were. Yeah, $50K. It's not cheap. And that's the sad thing, right? Because it basically is, it puts the burden on a probable suspect to prove that it wasn't them. If there's some evidence that shows they did it, that's why our legal system has the standard as high as it does, beyond reasonable doubt. If there is this reasonable doubt, there should be not guilty. I'm not saying that the accident is the more likely conclusion. I'm just saying a jury could have decided the accident was enough that it was a reasonable doubt. And trust me, I do not like the idea that that if you're good enough at murder, you'll get away with it, right? That rubs me the wrong direction. I don't like that idea. And so I don't want to see a guilty person walk free because they just outthought the system. All right. What did his attorney represent? His attorney in the first trial said, basically waved the white flag and said, we agree with the state. This was murder. And that's a huge concession. Especially when he says when he's been consistent and said it's an accident all along. He's never deviated from that. He's never admitted guilt, responsibility. The audio recording that I played over and over, trying to clean up on my system here. Yes, when I think the words cheating whore, listen to the audio, I hear cheating whore. When I think the words 3 and 4, when I listen to the audio, I hear 3, 4. And when you're doing CPR, which is the more likely thing that the person performing CPR is saying? 1, 2, 3, 4, or cheating whore? I would say reasonable doubt is going to be that this was him counting the compressions with 3, 4, just to keep the rhythm going that they had directed him to do. Confirmation bias is real. So the judge says this evidence should have been shown to the jury, then what? If the judge says that, then it's a retrial. We just repeat the trial. We go back through. And this time his lawyers which I don't know if the Innocence Project would represent him in that or not. I'm not sure if they'd follow all the way through or just get him to the retrial stage. But his lawyers, instead of saying, yes, this was murder, but it wasn't him, would say this was an accident. It's a completely different defense. Sounds like you're trying to make the shoe fit. I still feel if I was on the original jury and they had presented to me that this was an accident, I probably would still convict. I'm still on that point, but I have to look at this and say I'm not necessarily the same as every other person. I mean, look at our chat. We have people on, that are split on this. Probably at least a third of us might say that he's, this was an accident. I think that's enough that it should have been presented to the jury. I did a quick search with AI and can't find any confession. I can't find him confessing anywhere. Was he humming Staying Alive or Another One Bites the Dust? Okay, we're going to be coming back to court in a little bit. We're going to hear those recordings again. The plain, clear recordings. Hopefully we get a good audio take on that. The audio right now in the courtroom is not the best because we have two mic systems that are on at the same time. So a tiny bit of an echo. People believe the earth is flat. It's a little bit different though. I'm just saying that yes, there are facts that exist in this case. In their romance or their relationship, I guess you could say the romance was probably long gone. But in their relationship, there are factors that would definitely put Todd as a suspect. He's a suspect being the spouse already, but already put him as a suspect in this case. But there are also other facts with medication she was on, the surgery she had, the positioning, what we see in the barn, which looks to me like something fell. There's been a ruckus of some sort, which could have been she fell off, was standing on something to use and using a tool to get something down. That is enough, I think, that it should be presented to the jury and let them decide. Isn't there a time at trial where he could have said something? He did take the stand. He was crossed directly by his attorneys. But the attorneys already said, yes, this was murder. Children in primary school are taught to sing Nellie the Elephant to CPR. Hey, what you doing with the microphone? Don't touch our microphone. Hey, hands off. Hands off. Don't. No touchies. No touchies. Das Machine ist not for finger poken und mitten graben. Just sit back and watch the blinking lights. Okay. I think he's our audio guy. I'll give him a pass. By the way, I have to say thanks to everyone who has sent in pictures of everything from very, very simple Lego sets. We're talking 10 to 12 pieces, all the way up through a massive 1,000-piece, museum quality Titanic recreations. Thank you. The upper end is well on the outside of my skill level and budget. The lower end, much closer to my skill level and in budget. So you break it, you buy it. TNT. Yeah, something in the testimony. Somebody was talking about Tennessee. For some reason, I was thinking that all my exes live in Texas. That song. If you heard that one, that's why I reside in Tennessee. Karina, you're ready to do a build. 3 containers of Legos. That is awesome. Funny enough, when I learned CPR, they told me to use Another One Bites the Dust. I guess that prepares you for a likely outcome, people, for real. It's just like mentally, you're like, hey, this might not work. And, yeah. Testy, 1, 2. Can somebody go and tap the microphone? Don't tap it, actually. Just speak gently into it. Karina, if his DNA was on something, because this was his property, that was his farm, his tools, he had placed it there, it would be expected to be found there. So DNA is not going to be... This has been a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test. Had this been an actual emergency, the tone you just heard would be followed by instructions on where to go and what to yell while doing it. Still yelling. Okay. Staying Alive is a CPR song. I thought the nukes were about to drop. My little family, congratulations. 2 years. That is awesome. That is wonderful. Congratulations on 2 years of sobriety. Buttercup sends hugs and butter sugars and hopes Todd gets a new trial as innocent. Well, Buttercup's on one side for sure. Let's see. I just got this text from you. Let's see. I like that. That's really cool. Thanks for the text. I love what he's doing there, and I don't want to put it out, publicly, but I wanted to say thank you. Got a phone call. This is not a scam call.
From
Donald King.
Hey, Donald, this is R.A. How are you doing this morning?
Good. How are you, Scott?
Not bad. What's on your mind?
Okay. I grew up on a tobacco farm when I was 12 in Kentucky. And we used corn rakes to, move around the tobacco leaves.
Yeah, in the barn when it's drying.
And the idea that you can't push one of those through somebody, I think is ridiculous. Those are sharp, very sharp. And me as a 12-year-old boy, I could have pushed one through somebody.
I agree.
Secondly, I'm not buying accident theory. The evidence with the twines going in an upward trajectory and then a downward, another set going down. I don't know how you do that if you're falling back on the corn rake. That doesn't make sense to me. Now, if someone was holding it and poking somebody with it and turned it, that makes more sense to me, how you get those kind of injuries.
Yeah.
So I'm not buying this.
Yeah, I agree with you also. The corn rake is a perfectly suitable weapon for murder. It can be used quite effectively, even though it hasn't been historically.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely I think you're correct. It could definitely be pushed into somebody. You wouldn't have to fall off a roof, okay? Your body weight stepping on a tine is enough, but I realize with 4 tines it does distribute that weight a little bit, but it's not like a full bed of nails, which still you have to be very careful with, or else they will puncture you as well. So
yeah, well, the attorney kind of tried to play it off as though these were kind of square, blunt instruments. And it's not. The tines are sharp. They're very sharp.
Yeah.
So it would be easy just to ram one through somebody.
Yep.
So that's my thought on it. So
Donald, thank you. I appreciate the insight. And no farm work ever hurt anybody, right? It's always good for the soul.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree.
Appreciate it. We'll see you.
Have a good one.
Bye. I love it. In my early days, I lived in a quite rural area as well. We didn't have a farm, but we had a huge garden and had chickens, and it was my job to collect the eggs from the chickens. And when I say chickens, I'm talking like, I think we had like 20 or 30. There was a whole flock, and all my siblings were scared of the chickens, and I was the only one that could just go in there and reach in there and grab their eggs from them. Feral Dragon, love you, my friend. Thanks for keeping me company all day. As for the case, how was he chill in less than 3 minutes without having an antisocial personality? Talking about, first of all, Feral Dragon, thank you. Congratulations on 16 months. Are you talking about Todd being pretty calm? His demeanor is pretty calm? Or are we talking about something else? A corn rake would be ineffective on leaves. The tines are spaced out, 4 inches or so? Farms are dangerous. Oh my goodness, there's so many ways to get hurt. Just the critters that live on farms, let alone the ones you grow there intentionally, are dangerous. You can get all sorts of poisonous snakes that like to hide just about everywhere, from hay bales to wood piles. And half the equipment is, designed for function and not for safety. I've got a lot. Jenny, you need to go back and watch the live stream we did, or the interview we did with Courtroom Confidential a week or two ago. I think a couple of weeks ago now. And then rewatch the whole thing and then take the quiz. Family with 10 kids, my family, so I'm one of 10. Looks like we're just waiting for the judge now. Let's let her come on in. Deputy has been guzzling water on the stand. He's going to need a break here soon. Or not deputy, sheriff. He's sheriff now. Looks like that break is coming about right now as he heads to the door. Is he going to leave? No. He's going to stick around. Grab himself another bottle of water. Hubby is one of 14. In fact, my uncle died when he got kicked by a mule at age 14. Myra, thank you very much. Welcome. Good to have you stopping by. Not a very busy train track. We've had like one a day so far. Might get busier. You never know. The weekends might be the big time for trains in this area. The fact is, the train just happened right at the very beginning, and so we went with the train counter. It turns out this is probably just one rogue track runs through town. It's a lot like a little town where I'm at here near Greenville. We have a train track that goes through town, and I think it's once a week there's a train that comes through. That's it. Dad was attacked by a turkey as a kid, scared until today. My friend's brother got this bright idea that he was going to raise poultry, birds on his farm, and most people would think chickens or turkeys, sometimes ducks, right? No, he went straight to emus. And if you've never seen an emu is think overgrown, furry or hair, feathered ostrich with dinosaur feet. That's an emu. They are terrible. I mean, you have to watch your back. They will get you. The one the Arms Family Homestead has, I think his name is Charlie. If you watch Arms Family Homestead on YouTube, they have an emu named Charlie, and he turns his back on that thing all the time. And I don't know, he must have like nerves of steel. I would not do it. Emu. There's no emoji. No emoji for that. They're like 7 feet tall. They're massive.
Please be seated. Ms. Nichols-Cook, we're back on the record. Were you picking back up with your audio?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and that exhibit number again is?
Your Honor, it's Exhibit 293.
Okay.
It has been tendered to the court on an external hard drive. There are 2 actual audio files in a folder. There might be a third one that is a duplicate of 297, so we will clarify that for you later. But at this time, conferred with the state, we are going to play 293 File 1, which is, these are the 2 files that were played in the underlying criminal trial.
And Your Honor, as I indicated to Mr. Mullis' counsel that we're going to object to this line of inquiry. We agree that these are the same as the 911 calls that were admitted in evidence at trial, so we have no objection on that front. However, how we anticipate this line of questioning is essentially an attempt to have Sheriff Hemseth try to determine on the spot whether he can hear it over the court speakers in this courtroom, whether the statements that were referenced at the trial. So if that's where we're going, I'm just going to state that we would object to that because his recollection at the time of trial and what was actually heard in that courtroom is what matters.
Your Honor, I can represent to the court that that's not my point.
Okay, well, we'll play the files and see what the questions end up being whenever you're ready.
Roll tape.
Okay. If we would start File 1.
This is terrible.
Do you know whose voice you're hearing on this recording?
Yes.
Who is it?
Todd.
Mr. Mullis?
Yes.
Do you know who the other voices would be?
No, dispatcher.
A dispatcher?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, finish this one. Of the first file, and so we will get the second file of 293 pulled up for you.
That was him pulling over.
Do you have an understanding of what was happening at the time of this, during this time period of the call?
It sounds like he's in his vehicle.
Do you know what kind of phone Mr. Mullis had?
LG flip phone.
For the younger people in the audience, what is a flip phone?
It's a flip phone.
Does it folds together?
Yes.
Does it have speakerphone?
I believe so. I would assume. I don't know that for sure. I do not own a flip phone.
Okay. We will pick back up with the second file.
Flip phones were the best for battery life. What's your name? What are you driving? A Chevy, white Chevy. White Chevy truck.
Okay, what time are we? Okay, so we are about 44 seconds into the second file. Did you hear Mr. Mullis say anything?
He's in a white Chevy.
Did you hear anything else? Did you hear him ask the dispatcher a question?
I don't remember, actually, if we're being honest. No, I did. It's possible.
At that time, what's your understanding of what the dispatchers are telling Mr. Mullis to do?
I think they're instructing him to pull over, and they're going to start administering CPR.
Have you had other instances in Delaware County where people have driven themselves to the hospital?
I'm sure it's possible, yes. I don't know of anything in particular.
And we can back it up. We'll back this up just one more time for you. Maybe you can listen to see if you hear Todd ask anything else.
Cover your ears. Here we go. Tech support's here.
Did you hear that? No? Okay. That's right. We'll keep playing. Did you hear Todd say anything there?
I can't understand what it says. Something about closer, maybe?
Okay. Do you know what's happening now in Todd's vehicle?
I believe he's performing CPR.
Do you?
Would be my guess.
Do you?
Your Honor, can I briefly call you a witness for the purpose of an objection? Very briefly.
Go ahead.
Sheriff Hemeseth, were you on this 911 call?
No.
Were you with Mr. Mullis while this was occurring?
No.
Your Honor, I'm going to object that this is calling for speculation, and it's asking for the witness to opine to what is said and what is occurring on matters that he was not personally present for. He has no personal knowledge of it. As to the trivia questions of what's said and when, I don't see how it's relevant. The court already has the 911 call in evidence. It already came out at trial what was or was not said, and that was a weight question for the jury. So Sheriff Hemeseth's belief based on this sound system, what he is or is not hearing and what occurred, is not relevant, and it's not helpful in the state's opinion to the court's ability to determine the facts at issue.
Well, I would agree that I'm having a hard time figuring out the relevance at this point.
I can move forward, Your Honor, if you'd like, and skip ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Hemeseth, in your review of the other deputies' actions in this investigation, did you become aware that other deputies responded to this 911 call?
Yes.
Do you know if that was Luke Thompson?
It was.
And if I can fast forward to timestamp 6:20, have you known Mr. Thompson for a period of time?
Yes.
Will you be able to recognize his voice?
Yes.
Okay, are we at 6:20? Okay, so my understanding, this is file 2 of 293, time code 620.
Come on.
Do you
come
hear
on.
Deputy Thompson?
Can you
Yes. Right there, did you hear?
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
That's very hard to hear.
Are you aware that Deputy Thompson arrived at the scene and started CPR?
He did.
And he took over for Mr. Mullis?
Yes, that's what his report said, yes.
Do you hear another male voice on the...
I don't know what that is. I can't make it out from here, honestly.
Is it possible that that's Deputy Thompson?
It is possible, yes.
And that he's there at minute 6:20?
Yes, that's possible.
Do you recall at what point of this 911 call the tip said the statements were?
I don't.
If I directed you to the trial transcript, which is remarked as Exhibit 351, which would be Volume 5, page 89. I did not write down the line number. 89. If I represented to you that in the transcripts, Maureen Hughes stops the 911 call at minute 6:53 of the second tape, would you disagree?
I would agree with that, if that's what that reflects.
Okay. And then again, she stops it at minute 7:00.
Yes.
I'm going to object. The transcript speaks for itself. Sheriff Hemeseth wasn't the one testifying, and the transcript's already in evidence.
Just have one follow-up question. Overruled. Go ahead. Mr. Hemeseth, would these statements that you called Maureen Hughes about have occurred after Deputy Thompson arrived?
Objection. This is, it calls for speculation. I don't think it's been established that Deputy Thompson for sure did arrive at 6:20. I believe the sheriff's testimony was it was possible.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure that's really an evidentiary objection, but the witness can answer if he's able.
I don't know what you're asking.
If Deputy Thompson arrived at minute 6:20 and the alleged statements that Mr. Mullis makes on the 911 call are at 6:53, wouldn't Deputy Thompson have been present for them?
I don't know if that's when he arrived or not, so I don't know.
If you did, though. If I have a record, his patrol log, if I have another record that shows he's there at minute 6:20 of that 911 call or his testimony, he would be there at the time the tip said Mr. Mullis made other statements.
I don't know.
Just have one more clip to play, Your Honor. What's the timestamp on this one, Gina? 6:40. This will be at timestamp 6:40 of the second file.
I'm guessing that other deputy did not report that Todd said anything like that.
Do you know what or who was talking there?
I believe it sounds like Todd. I don't know.
Do you know what he said?
I don't know. It's hard to hear on this.
Do you want her on the ground?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
I didn't understand what it sounded like.
Okay. Did you do anything else? Did you do anything else after you got that tip to see if anyone else had heard those statements during the 911 call?
No, I just told Maureen about it, and then that That was her decision.
Okay, and you were an investigator at the time, though, of trial in 2019?
Yes.
And you didn't ask Thompson or Holub if they heard those statements?
I don't believe so, no.
Did you ask the dispatchers?
No.
Did you review Thompson or Holub's reports about the 911 call?
I reviewed the reports.
Does those reports contain anything referencing a statement Todd made?
No.
Did you talk to any of the emergency first responders?
No.
Did you review any of their reports?
No.
She'll come back later.
Okay. I'd like to move on and talk a little bit about some 2023 activities. You testified earlier that you reviewed the coat of Mrs. Mullis in the evidence room.
Yes.
And do you recall reaching out to Dr. Cruz about the coat and how many holes were in it?
I do.
Okay. We're going to pull up Exhibit 230. I believe you saw these during your 2023 deposition. And do you remember if you reached out to her with a phone call or text message or an email?
Text message.
We can scroll through these because I think there's a few here. Do these appear to be text messages between you and Kelly Cruz?
Yes.
Why are you texting her?
I text her because I read that report, the opinion report that stated there was 4 holes in the coat, and it's been a while since I reviewed the case file, so that's the original. It's been a while since I've seen it, but that was the main topic about asking her if she was aware of that, how many holes were in the coat. And that's why I went and reviewed the coat, because I thought that was not true.
It looks like in these text messages you took additional pictures of the coat?
Yes.
And then you texted them to Dr. Cruz?
Yes.
You and Dr. Cruz discuss other things?
As far as what, I haven't reviewed this in a while, but I believe so.
Did you also send her a video regarding this case?
It wasn't directly for this case. It was another individual that's very interested in this case, but it had nothing to do with this case. It was a simulation of a chemical toad, and an individual that I think you know who that is simulating falling into it. Yes.
So I want you to scroll down to page 6 of this exhibit and have you review that message for me. Do you know if you are the blue bubbles or the ones that appear to be gray or white? You think you're the white? And what do you recall you and Dr. Cruz are discussing? It's this other person, this other video?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was.
And so the blue bubble, you believe that's Dr. Cruz's message?
Your
Honor, I'm going to object on relevance on this line of questioning. This text string that we're currently discussing, this portion of it, is related to an individual who is not, as we've discussed in chambers and during sidebars, is not directly related to this post-conviction relief action, is an interested member of the public who has taken a very strong interest in the case, and the discussion pertaining to that individual is not relevant to the facts that the court needs to determine here.
That is in the courtroom.
Can you help me understand why this would be relevant under a PCR analysis?
If I could ask maybe 2 more questions, I think it will be clear.
Go ahead.
Mr. Himsath, the individual that created the video or that you sent to Kelly Cruz, did he have opinions about Todd Mullis's guilt or how Amy Mullis died?
Oh, yes.
Did he disagree with Dr. Cruz and you?
Yes.
Do you then go on to discuss and agree with Dr. Cruz that he must have a mental illness since he disagreed?
Objection, relevance. Again, this is not pertinent to the facts of it, the issues before the court.
Sustained.
If we continue on in your messages down to, sorry, it's the first one with the code there. Is this the message where you send her pictures of the red Carhartt coat?
Yes.
Okay. Pink, I'm sorry. And then the next page contained 2 more images. And then what did you write?
I don't know. I don't see it.
I believe the text is in between the images.
Oh, sorry. 5 holes.
Were you referring to the coat?
Yes.
Did you have documentations in your reports anywhere else about the holes in the coat?
I did not.
Did you have Dr. Cruz's photos that we looked at earlier with the arrows?
At that time, yes.
Okay, and then scroll to the next page, page 9. You also, an article is sent. Do you know if you're sending that or Dr. Cruz is sending that?
I believe that'd be her.
And then the next page, page 10, are you guys discussing the article?
Your Honor, I'm going to object again. Sheriff Hemeseth's and Dr. Cruz's opinions about the media presentations and the filings by Mr. Mullis's counsel are not probative on any issue that is before the court for determination. They are free to have personal opinions in their lives about how they feel the process is going, but it's not relevant for this proceeding.
Any response, counsel?
Your Honor, I think it's relevant for a couple of reasons. One, I haven't been able to fully ask yet, but Mr. Hemeseth has done several media interviews regarding the case. The messages are illustrative of his attitude and towards the post-conviction and the actions he's taking after the filing.
Showing bias?
I will allow a few very brief further questions on this topic, and then I think we need to move on.
Yes, happily.
Again, this is a PCR bench trial.
There's no jury.
There is no jury here. Let's remember that and keep to the relevant, important issues.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hemeseth, did you and Dr. Cruz then discuss the PCR?
Not in What do you mean by discuss?
In these messages, are you discussing the post-conviction filing?
I believe she asked me a question about it.
You say this is out of control. Are you referring to the post-conviction filing?
I can't remember what that was in relation to.
Okay. Were you open to receiving new information about how Amy Mullis had died?
Yes, always.
But you didn't read the entire post-conviction filing?
I did not.
You also spoke to Dr. Cruz on the phone during or after the post-conviction was filed. Did you?
I believe that's possible. Yeah, I don't remember the dates and times I actually called her.
Okay. Did you say in these messages that the experts got it wrong?
Yes.
I think that's the very last page, page 11. Sorry, I'm used to you being able to flip through your own exhibit. It's my fault. Did you say the experts got it wrong? Someone got it wrong?
Oh, I already answered that, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we can take that one down. If the medical examiner's office missed something and were wrong that Amy Mullis' death is a homicide, would that change your investigation?
Well, it would depend on what they miss. That's a pretty broad question.
If she's wrong and it's not a homicide, does the rest of your investigation prove murder?
I believe it does.
Are you relying on the electronic evidence?
Everything is in a whole.
What else is there besides electronic evidence?
Other witness statements. I guess I haven't reviewed any of the other depositions of witness statements, so I'm not up on all that.
Okay.
But I know there was a lot of witnesses called, and there's a lot of elements to this case.
Are you aware of any evidence that Todd Mullis killed his wife Amy besides what was presented at trial?
No.
I know we talked briefly earlier, I think before the break, that you talked to Roman Gamble at DCI.
Yes.
Can you tell me briefly who he is and why?
He's an intel analyst.
Do you know if Ward Crawley retired from DCI?
Yes.
What did you ask Roman Gamble to do in 2024?
I asked him to take the Cellbrite extraction and the Google searches and to combine the search histories so as an easier workflow document for visual aid.
And did you do that because your testimony at trial was being challenged in this post-conviction?
Well, I never had that formal document made. That document's what Ward and I and Scott Rieger talked about. We never had it officially drafted, so I had Gamble create that document, merge the two searches.
So you found that what you had from before wasn't sufficient, you needed something else? Am I understanding that?
No, that's not accurate. It was sufficient, just a better workflow product.
Okay, nothing further.
Cross-examination?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning still. Sheriff Emiseth, how are you?
Good.
Just want to ask some follow-up questions so we're on the same page here. And I'd like to start with the Google search document that we were just talking about with Mr. Gamble. You did a deposition in this post-conviction relief action in 2023, is that right?
Yes.
And at that point, it had been approximately 5 years since the investigation had occurred, is that right?
Yes.
And it had been several years since even the trial had happened?
Yes.
At your deposition, you were asked various questions, and your deposition's in evidence, of course, but you were asked various questions about the Google searches and how you came to certain conclusions at trial. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Was part of the purpose for creating this document with Mr. Gamble, was that to help refresh your memory of how you came to certain conclusions?
Yes.
And that was given the passive time, things like that?
Yes, created a better workflow document for visual aid.
You were asked some questions about completing reports in this case. Did you complete any reports in this case?
Yes.
And did you document portions of your interviews and investigation that you thought were important?
Yes.
But you didn't document every single action you took, everywhere you drove, is that right?
No.
Is that typical in an investigation to not document every single thing you do on a day-to-day basis?
Yes.
There was some testimony where you referenced that you didn't have access to reports prior to your testimony today. Is that in part because your case file, your reports, your evidence were provided to the state, the prosecution team as part of this post-conviction relief action?
Yes.
So it's not as though that you have somehow had the reports were taken from you for any other reason, right?
Correct.
You were asked a question about your theory on November 10th, 2018. Do you remember those questions?
Yes.
And this call came in from Mr. Mullis and his son as a farm accident initially. Is that right?
Correct.
So the approach to the investigation was reliant initially on that representation?
That's what the deputies had told me, yes.
So was it only after the investigation and the autopsy, those results and information, that led you to determine that the investigation pivoted from an accident to a homicide investigation?
Correct.
So any steps you took in those initial hours and days were a result of how it was reported to you. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
You were asked questions about former Deputy Rowley. Can I clarify, was it your understanding that Sheriff LeClaire, your predecessor, had confirmed via I think you called it the AVL system, or the GPS, that Deputy Rowley was nowhere near the Mullis farm?
Correct.
And when you say that Rowley was cleared, you don't recall specifically the exact time frame of when that AVL data was reviewed, do you?
No, I don't.
And the AVL system, Sheriff LeClaire is the one who reviewed that?
Yes, he's the only one that has access.
But you were aware in the flow of the investigation that Deputy Rowley was confirmed to not be in that area?
Correct.
And for whatever reason, that wasn't preserved, but it doesn't mean it didn't happen, right?
Right.
There were some questions about the autopsy, and you were asked how many holes they found in the coat or clothing. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you had prior testimony where you were trying to recall how many holes they observed at that time. Do you remember those questions?
Correct.
And you thought it might have, your recollection at the time of your deposition was you thought maybe they had counted 6. Do you remember that?
Correct.
Would it be fair to say that regardless of your memory, that you would defer to the notes and the subsequent viewing of the clothes for what the evidence actually shows?
Yes.
So if the evidence shows there's 5 holes in the clothing, you would defer to what that shows?
Yes.
Regarding the Google searches, you were asked some questions about the harvest season and when planting is. And there was some, actually first, let me go to, there was questions about UTC time, which I believe is Universal Time Code. Does that sound right?
Universal Coordinated Time.
Thank you. The purpose of your investigation with the Google searches was not to determine what time the searches were, was it?
No, it was specifically the content.
So that was your focus, was the content of the searches?
Yes.
You were also asked a question about Miranda warnings. And to be clear, you were not in the truck with Agent Turbot and Mr. Mullis, right?
No.
So if Agent Turbot had read Mr. Mullis his Miranda warnings at that time before asking any questions, you wouldn't have been personally aware of that?
I would not have been present.
And the only other person in that vehicle besides those two is a former deputy who is unable to testify for other reasons, right?
I don't know if he was in the vehicle or not, but yeah, you are correct.
And that's because he has passed away?
Correct.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you, Sheriff.
Any redirect?
I think very, very briefly, Your Honor. One quick follow-up, Mr. Himself, regarding the Google searches. You just said that you were only concerned about the content of the Google searches.
That was the main focus, is content.
Did you do any investigation to determine who created the searches or did the searches?
What exactly you're asking?
I'm trying to understand that you were investigating the content.
Yes.
Did you do anything to investigate who made the search?
Ward Crawley and I worked on it.
And I just want to know specifically you.
Oh, I don't think I did it. No.
Okay. You didn't talk to other members of the Mullis family about the content that you found?
I did not.
Okay. And we talked earlier about how you didn't do any, did you do any investigation about the times of the searches to determine where the iPad or another device could have been?
No.
Or the person's people that had access to those devices?
Right.
Okay. Do you recall testifying at this criminal trial that you didn't have any other suspects outside of Mr. Mullis and Mr. Frazier?
I don't remember that.
Okay. Did you mention Deputy Rowley in your trial testimony?
Objection, Your Honor. I believe my recollection is there was a subject of a motion limine for the trial. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was subject of motion limine to limit the testimony of specifically involving the Deputy Rowley issue. So I don't want Sheriff Hemeseth's testimony to be mischaracterized.
I'm happy to defer to the court on what the transcript says and rephrase my question if that would be helpful.
Hear it?
That's probably the quickest way to solve the issue. I'm looking at the motion in limine, but...
And sorry, Your Honor, to clarify, motion limine from the underlying trial.
Oh, okay. Then it would be definitely the quickest way to solve the problem. If you don't mind, Ms. Nichols-Cook, we'll handle it that way.
Mr. Hemeseth, did you testify at the criminal trial about Deputy Rowley's affair with Amy Mullis?
No, I was never asked that.
Were you told not to mention his name because of a motion in limine?
I don't think so.
Don't remember. Okay.
Certainly.
Sounds like a different train. Lots of whispering going on in the courtroom.
If I may show you one more exhibit and we'll pull up 371. I just want to confirm that this is the Gamble chart that you were talking about, and I believe Mr. Gamble's going to testify later, but just so that you and I are on the same page. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
We can scroll, I think it's a couple of pages.
It should be like 6,400 searches at the bottom.
Okay, that's a lot of pages. But does this appear to be the document you got back from Mr. Gamble?
Yes.
Okay, and what you were referring to earlier, that better visual?
Correct.
Okay, we can take that down. My last question is, are there any other notes or reports that regarding the investigation into Ms. Mullis's death or Todd's arrest that wouldn't be in your file?
Not that I know of.
And did you learn at any time about what happened in the car with Agent Turbot and Mr. Mullis after he was arrested?
I don't believe so.
So you don't have any information about whether Miranda was read at that time?
I do not.
Or what if any, questions were asked?
No.
Okay, nothing further.
Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor, but I'll try to keep it limited to 2 questions, which I'll regret in a moment. Sheriff Hemeseth, we'll try to get you out here in a second, but I just wanted to clarify. So you were discussing your investigation, the Google searches, the cell phones, all of that. Was all of that done with the assistance of other agencies and other investigators?
Yes, multiple.
So that included, I think you referenced Ward Crawley, who was an ICAC or DCI investigator, DCI agent Scott Rieger, all of those people?
Yes.
So your conclusions about digital evidence was all related to the totality of your investigation working with those other people?
Yes, it was a team effort, yes.
And then final question, your testimony here at the trial, your depositions, were you truthful to the best of your ability and your recollection of everything given the passage of time?
Yes.
All right, I appreciate it, Sheriff, and I have no further questions.
Anything further, Ms. Nichols-Cook?
One question, Your Honor. Have you filed any supplemental reports to correct your prior testimony at trial?
I don't believe so.
No further questions, Your Honor. I just want to make sure that we have agreement on the exhibits before the witness leaves.
Okay. Do you want to confer with Mr. Bakke quickly off the record, or?
Make sure the photos before 11, the Thompson report at 300, Sheriff Letter, Thompson's report. Do you want the policy completely?
Looks like it's about 11:30 in the courtroom. 12:30
So, Your Honor,
Eastern time.
I think we're in agreement that we would move to admit Exhibit 311, the photographs from the Delaware County Sheriff's Office, to formally move to admit 300, Deputy Thompson's report, and then Exhibit 400, the policies of the Delaware County Sheriff's Office. We would ask for the caveat that they be filed at a level 1. And then Exhibit 297, which is the dispatch audio recording. We did not play that this morning, but we would move to admit it upon agreement for completeness for the record.
Mr. Bakke, any objection to those exhibits?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, they will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Great. Anything further then for this witness, or is the sheriff free to go?
He is free to go.
Thank you, Sheriff.
He's out of here.
Are we returning then to Dr. Nye?
Your Honor, we did not have a good place for Dr. Nye to wait in the building. She is nearby. I'm wondering if the court might be amenable to starting our lunch break on the earlier side and reconvening at 1 o'clock or something in that time frame. If not, we can get her, but she is nearby. She's not in the building.
That's fine. We can take our lunch at this time and plan on resuming then at 1 p.m. Court is in recess until then.
There we go. Listen to this. Ready? Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Do you hear that? Do you hear how quiet that just got? Coming back at 1, so we get an hour and a half lunch. Sheriff was quick to get out of there. This is I have to say that in this particular trial, the process itself is more interesting than necessarily the testimony that's going on. So I love watching the process, even though the testimony is just, it can grate on my ears and on my, my last nerve. But get an early lunch today, which is great. So I can go to the post office. Sinbad, I'll pick up whatever it is. Thank you again. I'm still getting text messages with Lego sets. Just awesome ideas for Legos. This one's a courthouse, which looks great. I don't think this is an official Lego set, but let's see. Do you think we'll hear more about the officer that apparently had an affair with Amy? Glenn, interesting. It didn't come out during trial. That was new. The officer, the last thing we heard there at the end was, "Oh, you didn't volunteer that information at court." And he's like, "You never asked." He's like, "Well, how would we know to ask unless you told us?" But yeah. Let's see. And a lot of you have sent me information about the fact that Lego actually lost the copyright, like the protection to the product itself, like years ago. That's why so many people are making products that work with Lego, that fit Lego. Okay, they can't say Lego on the top of the circle, but the only thing they maintain that protection on is their figurines. The little round smiley head. Melody says, "What's the purpose of this trial? I've never heard anything like this. This is the first time we've ever watched a post-conviction relief trial, a civil trial trying to get a retrial on the criminal trial. So it's a very unique process. I think we're getting closer to being done. Why would he keep fighting for a new trial if he was guilty? Guilty people usually don't do this once they lose an appeal." There's some things in here that I would have expected to see if this was a husband upset with his wife for having an affair, trying to leave him. I would have expected something called overkill, which is where much more damage is inflicted than necessary to cause the death. We see it when it's very personal, and I would say it's not in this one. The fact that she was found on all fours. It would indicate that she would still be alive if she was in that position. There's some sign of life at that point. Why would he? And arguably, you could say if he did this, he attacked her and then left, thinking she was dead. And then she got up and was crawling away, and then died while crawling. He definitely, if he did this, I don't think would have left her crawling out of the shed, because there's a chance she would still be alive and survive for some reason, be able to get to the house, get help, or alert someone. Yeah. First concert was the Monkees. Mine was I was a country singer. I don't remember. But it was loud, I can tell you that. The ears are still ringing. The position seems odd. Lack of overkill. Mine was Elton John. Beach Boys. That's taking me back. Love their harmonies, though. White Snake. That's a hairband, isn't it? Big hairband. Steppenwolf. Go-Go's with NXS opening. Oh, man. Wild. George Strait. Jackson 5. Poison. Why are we talking about music all of a sudden? I clicked on the wrong comment. Thank you, everyone who's sending suggestions on the Legos. I want it to be a surprise, so I'm not going to tell you guys which one I choose. I don't think I'm going to tell Valhalla Awaits, which one I'm going to do until the very moment. So we'll keep it a surprise, but thank you very much for all of that. Cheap Trick, AC/DC, Prince, Harry Chapin? Chapin? I don't know that one. Sorry. I probably should. Probably know songs that he sings. Toby Keith. Man, that might have been Toby Keith. I know somebody else bought me the ticket. I would never buy a ticket for a concert. I was just never in my price range. When is Ari doing the Lego stream? Hey, fun fact, the Lego stream is already up. It's set for March 8th, so we're a little over a week out. It's going to be a week from Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's already, the thumbnail is already up, so you can go. I've commented it. I was second in chat. I commented already. So you can like it and click the reminder button, hit the subscribe button while you're there. But man, all you music aficionados, is that right? Look at mod chat. Josh, I saw a couple things a minute ago. Let's see if there's anything new. See the different Legos. I just have a white square that says Josh, and it's just clear white. Wheels spinning. Oh, there's another. It's slowly loading, I think. Wait for it. I'll close it down and load it again. Josh, your last one. I got the 3 suggestions. The fourth one is just a white box that's not loading. And it causes my phone to lock up. Everly Brothers. Everly Brothers. What did they sing? Did they sing Tom Dooley? I'm confusing them with the Smothers Brothers. I think we had both of those records in my home growing up. Kansas. Bye Bye Love. Wake Up Little Susie. Good songs. Melanie, we did already show the funny video. We started the live stream with that. We started a little early to have a little break from some of this heavy trial, which apparently is like still going on as people are still sitting around talking. That was our audio guy, right? That's the guy. The dude in the jacket, he went up and touched the microphone. Looks like lawyers hanging out with supporters. She's very smiley. Lots of people happy about that. All right. Mrs. R.A. is here, and I'm thinking it's about lunchtime for her, too. So I'm hoping that she can just double whatever she's making, and I can have what she has. So might be a salad. Might be a salad in my schedule. How do I find the Lego link? Well, I can share it for you is what I'll do. How about that? I might be able to put it in chat if I'm quick enough. Or the mods can before I even get there. Oh, there it is. Okay. Wait for it. right, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe. Till we go live again after lunch, I'll make a portal. I might have to play the song again. There's the link to the one that's coming up. Start at 1:30, right? Or 2. I think it's 1:45. There we go. All right, portal's made. We'll see you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. We'll see you. Okay, the portal isn't working yet. Hang on. I'm working on the portal.
Thank you, sir. You're my new best friend.
Okay, here comes the portal. Here we go.
Because he's the guy.